Hey, gang, and welcome to the watch along for Ghostbusters tonight. I think I'm going to have at least three people on the stream live with me tonight. Um, I see that Candace and Chris are not backstage yet, but Batman is, and I'm going to be adding him shortly. Hopefully, I'm going to actually check something and make sure. I'm pretty sure that I sent them the link. Um, yeah, I did. So they may just be running a little bit behind. So we'll give them time to get in here. I don't yet see anybody, watching. Hopefully we'll have some people. I know that Dirk and Darren were doing something a little bit earlier. I don't know if they're still um, having their stream or not. Actually, I'm a little bit like, if I seem a little bit out of it, it's because I took a little cat nap and got up not very long ago because I was feeling so sleepy. That's what happens when you get old, folks, is that you fall asleep at the drop of a hat. So it just seems like no matter how much sleep I get, I'm still tired. And so while we're waiting for Candace and Chris, and I'm going to have to get my movie queued up as well, I just wanted to show off the new design for t-shirts, or one of the new designs. This is actually I can probably get up and, oh, so y'all can see that better. This is the Scooby-Doo movies horror movie mashup. This is a Robert Englund um, option. I do have a Kane Hodder option as well on the site right now, in case you wanted to pick you up one or pick up a friend or loved one of these. Now, I will say it just occurred to me that people may be having internet issues um, because of bad weather. We had a storm earlier today with a lot of wind, a lot of rain, not a lot of lightning, which was good. Um, so Candace and Chris could be among those people that it's possible they could have had a power outage, an internet outage, any number of things. And I haven't gotten to all my voice messages. So if they don't show in a little bit, um, I may step away for a couple of minutes in order to listen to the message that Candace sent me earlier. It may be telling me that they can't join in because they don't have any power. Candace said she sent me a message. Okay, that that is my indicator that I'm going to take myself out of the stream for just 1 second, and I'm going to listen to that message. I will be right back. Okay, so Candace did send me a text message and she indicated they were having a small snafu. They were trying to get on. So um, I will take this opportunity to get my movie queued up. Batman, I promise I'm going to add you here in a minute or so. Uh, and I'm probably going to have to get up and let my little girl in here because one of my dogs is wanting to come in the back room with me. Darcy, I'll be there in a minute. She thinks something amazing is going on back here and she's missing it. So, uh, well, this thing's taking 100 years for the movie to even load. We had a power bump here even after the storm was over. I don't know if we heard something that sounded like an explosion, which could have been a transformer somewhere. Thankfully, our power didn't stay out. It only blinked. Um, I guess this thing will come on in a second. All right, Darcy, I'm going to come get you. All right, finally that loaded. Make sure the volume's turned down on that because we don't want to get in trouble, right? Okay. So, I have got mine queued up for anybody that might be listening for Batman in case he wants to get queued up with where I am. I am at the Columbia Pictures logo. Columbia Pictures has just showed up on the screen there. So if everybody, whoops, that wants to follow along tonight, wants to get theirs queued up, they can do so. But let me see if I can talk about. I hate when I have to take a nap or something like that. I'm always a little off whenever I get on here. But so I was trying to think of anything that I need to tell everybody. Of course, we didn't have a movie munchies today. I had it fully intended to, but I had a little snafu with getting my material together to make the deep red spaghetti. So that will not be this next weekend, but the following weekend I will plan on doing that. Um, Also, there will be no movie. There will be no watch alongs next weekend because I will be taking off. I'll be taking my week off from doing those. But we should have a new Stephen's Kingdom coming up tomorrow night. Now, I know it is Memorial Day. I know a lot of you guys and gals are off from work. Uh, I don't know if Batman will be off from work because McDonald's. It's kind of iffy, I guess, whether or not they will be open or closed. Um, So if there are some of you that are busy doing things with family and friends and stuff like that from Memorial Day, I will completely understand if you're not able to come in for the Stephen's Kingdom. Tuesday, again, there will be another Everybody Wants England. I'll be talking about a couple more, um, or actually three more Robert England films. Wednesday will be another Apples and Oranges. And I'm excited about this one. I know there were some uh, groans from the peanut gallery the last time I mentioned Terror on Tour. However, I'm going to make this one fun. We're going to talk about what exactly is wrong with Terror on Tour and how does it compare with other rock horror movies like Rocktober Blood and Trick or Treat and Black Roses and all of those types of films. So we're going to make it interesting, even for those of you that could care less about Terror on Tour, that would just as soon take that movie and drop it in a trash can somewhere. I know CK and Uncle Bill would like to do that with it. I think they would like to pretend like the movie never exists, but it does. Um, so I guess Candace and Chris are still trying to get on. Hopefully, they're going to be able to join us. If not, me and Batman will carry on tonight and we'll do this, and then I will have another one of these so that Candace and Chris can join us because they absolutely love Ghostbusters, and I wanted to make sure that at least one version of this watch along they're able to join on. Um, let's see. Thursday probably will be another triple threat review show for Seductive Poison. Don't yet know what movies I'll be covering, but I should be able to make that schedule up soon if I get off my lazy butt and do that. Um, and let's see, Friday will be another Terror Time Tea. I'm going to be talking a couple of more, hopefully, horror movies. Hey, there's Candace. Great. So I know Candace is back here. Now we just need to, hopefully, we can get Chris on too. Um, but I'm going to try to make um, raspberry lemon bars. It's a recipe that Blissful sent to me. So hopefully we'll be able to have raspberry lemon bars in addition to the tea for Terror Time Tea, and a couple of hopefully lesser known films that I'm going to be talking about as well. Also, will be another Friday Foolish if all goes well. Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, me and Candace will return. We're going to be talking about unique and weird foods. So, this should be a fun one where everybody can get in there and get involved. Um, Russell, you say you love them films, never seen Terror on Tour. Well, you're in luck, Russell, because there is, as far as I know, there is a copy on YouTube that you can watch. Not a very good copy, but it is my belief that there really are no good copies of Terror on Tour. It was never put out on DVD, never put out on Blu-ray or anything like that. But it is my hope that one day it will be. So there's kind of an outline of the things that will be coming up. And there's Chris. Chris has um, got one of those cool shirts on, and he'll be able to show that off a little bit. One of his cool horror shirts there when we get him on here. And I'll, of course, be showing off my Scooby Doo meets Robert England shirt tonight. So, anyway, without further ado, I'm going to add my guest here. So, we got Batman. Hey, Batman.
Eh,
So, you ready to watch Ghostbusters tonight?
yeah,
Okay. Your smile says it all, Batman. I can tell that this is one of your all time favorite movies. Yes,
yeah.
X-Ray, you did get here just in time. That was because I was fumbling around trying to get everything straight in my head, and I took a little cat nap and got up about 15 minutes before supposed to start this thing. So I'm still a little bit flighty. If I am, just y'all look over me. We'll get through this. So I'm going to go ahead and add Candace as well. Hey, Candace.
Hey guys.
I thought maybe the storms had got y'all or something,
It's
Candace.
it's been bad here, really bad. A lot of the electric is out everywhere.
Well,
Luckily, we
ours
got all of
blinked.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom, they're still in darkness, but thankfully it stopped right up the road, like just literally a couple houses down from us.
Uh-huh.
So we got lucky.
Man. Well, hopefully everybody will be able to stay on throughout the duration of this film because this is, in addition to it being a, everybody's one of their top films that's going to be on here live with me tonight. Um, it's it's always been a source of nostalgia for
Mhm.
me from the time I saw it. Um, and I have loved it ever since the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
And it was a way to get like what I considered, at least at the time, to be the heavy hitters as far as comedy movies.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, you had Bill Murray, and you have Dan Aykroyd, and you also have Harold Ramis,
Mhm.
and let's not forget Ernie Hudson. Ernie
No.
Hudson complements the rest of the guys in this film
Mhm.
very, very well.
Oh, yeah.
Annie Potts is Janine.
Yep.
You can't forget about Annie Potts. I've always had a particular fondness for Annie Potts. I just think she is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, X-Ray, you say, thank God they only made one movie and didn't ruin it with shitty sequels. Just this and the cartoon exists. Yeah. Ernie Hudson has the best dialogue in this movie. Ernie Hudson does have some pretty cool dialogue in
My
this.
nephew loves Ernie Hudson's character. He's a huge Winston fan. I think his favorite's Egon, but he loves Winston.
Mhm. So I'm going to go ahead and add Chris, so we'll have a complete group as of now. Hey, Chris.
Hey Dana, hey guys.
And if you
Hey.
hear Steve saying your name back there, Chris, I don't know what he's carrying on about. Every time I say Chris, he wants to carry on about it. I have no idea why. So just look over him. He hasn't got any sense.
Yeah, we kind of had a little snafu, like trying to get on here and everything because, like I said, we've been having some bad storm stuff, and then like on top of that, I was trying to like get Candace set up on her end, and for some reason it would not let me log into my Voodoo account, which is where I had a digital copy of it. So I'm like, I told Candace, I said, I'm sorry. I said, I don't know why it's not letting me log in. So she's stuck with the Tubi version tonight.
It's okay. I know it frontwards and backwards. So if there's a commercial,
Yeah,
I know where you guys are talking about.
It ain't no big deal because we've seen Ghostbusters 500,000 times.
Yeah.
And well, maybe not that many, but you know what I mean.
Well, look at my room. Can you see? My
Right.
son's. I mean, there's Ghostbusters literally all around me. My son is obsessed. My nephews are obsessed. We're obsessed. So we were the Ghostbusters for Halloween.
That I'm using the Ghostbusters 1-2 Blu-ray, like I guess you call it a digibook, like set.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know exactly where you're queued up at, but I'm right at the where it says Columbia Pictures.
That's where I'm at. And Batman, are you queued up as well to that spot?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll give everybody else a minute or two more to get queued up. I've got this is the 4K, but it also has a Blu-ray in it. The 4K looks fantastic, by the way, in case you have the ways and means to watch it that way. But that's cool, Batman. What you got there?
Yeah, I mean, I have a 4K player, but I'm just gonna be honest, and this is gonna be a little bit controversial, but 4K doesn't really do anything for me any more than what a Blu-ray does. That's just my honest opinion.
That is perfectly okay. Some people, 4Ks, their jam. Some people, it's not.
Yeah, and the only reason I will buy a 4K is if it has like additional special features that weren't previously released on past copies of the movie. That's my only reason. I know there's a lot of people that have what they call FOMO, fear of missing out, and I'm just I used to be like that myself, but like I can't keep up with so much stuff that I collect nowadays. So I'm just like, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Kind of have to let that go, don't you, Chris?
Yeah, I probably I jumped on the 4K bandwagon a little later than most, I think. But then once I got it, it was like, now I got to buy everything in 4K. And Steve's like, Dana, you don't have to rebuy everything. I said, well, technically, I don't rebuy everything, but the movies that I really, really enjoy, I want to see what I can't help it. I'm curious how they're going to look in the 4K. And thankfully, Ghostbusters is one of those that looks absolutely fantastic.
Oh, I'm sure it does. And they're also starting to get a little bit cheaper in price than they used to be. They used to be really expensive. But now they're more affordable.
If you buy from Severin or you buy from Synapse or any of them boutique companies, you're usually going to be paying a pretty penny. I tell you that much.
Yeah. But just like Walmart or somewhere like that, if you go and just get like some just normal 4K, they're not as high as they used to be. Amazon has really good deals on them.
Yeah, they are pretty cheap at Walmart. Like Walmart's starting to carry steel books and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
More and more of those since I
My
guess
brother is obsessed with steel books.
yeah, since Best Buy doesn't really carry a lot of those exclusive steelbooks anymore. I mean, they got to send them somewhere, I guess.
Yeah. Best
Yeah,
Buy.
me too.
Oh, yeah. That's cool, Batman.
Those are awesome.
I think my brother are those the steel books? My brother
Yeah,
has those.
yeah. I
I
bought them a
don't
while
have
back
books.
for like
Hmm.
$14, $15 each.
That's not bad.
Hey, you can find some steelbooks if you look hard enough in those $5 bins at
Yeah.
Walmart. I
What did you
found,
find here recently,
yeah,
Chris? It was something
I
really
did.
surprising.
It was a really good deal on them too. Like I got for $5, I got Terminator 2 steelbook at Walmart, and then I also got Ash versus Evil Dead season 2 on steelbook for $5. I mean, that's
That's
crazy.
all. I don't get that lucky with the. I don't know what it is about the $5
Yeah,
bins from Louisville.
found this for $5.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother-in-law has that. He got his for $5 at Walmart too. But yeah, those ones that I found, they were the only ones they had, Dana. I had to dig to almost to the bottom of that bin to even find them.
I remember when they first started those $5 bins at Walmart. It was like lemmings coming, and people were almost like they were going dumpster
Yeah,
diving. They was
Yeah.
digging.
well,
It
Because
was
they had CD ones too. Remember those? Back when
yeah.
when they sold CDs?
well, I'm sure. However, you experienced that, Dana, like the lemmings, like you said, coming to like just to raid the bins. I'm sure here where me and Candace are from, it's about 100 times worse
We've seen
because
people inside of those bins.
Oh, they had
yeah,
actually crawled it completely.
Yes.
because in our area, I mean, unfortunately, I just being honest, there's not a lot of business opportunities in this area unless we move off to somewhere like Lexington or Louisville or whatever. So a lot of people basically like fight or compete to try to make a buck around here. And as
Yeah.
sad as that is, that's how it is here,
Scalpers,
unfortunately.
basically.
Yep,
Resellers.
a lot of them.
So it's good to see though that Batman and Candace and Chris and me too, and I'm sure there are some of you in the chat that had to deal with storms today.
Hmm.
I'm glad that we all survived the storms,
Yeah.
and I this is basically an indicator to me of how stormy it's been lately. That we're going to have a stormy summer. That I don't think this is going to be a dry summer.
No.
Yeah, and I
Almost
was
wrecked.
yeah, Candace almost wrecked. There were tree branches off of trees
Yeah.
falling in the road, like while she was driving. She was coming to get me. I was up at the flea market today, and that's when it hit. Like when I was still up there, and like where I sit up outside, the shelter outside, they have kind of like these doors you can pull down behind each of your booths, and like I seen it coming, and I was like, "Oh Lord!" And I just went ahead and put my like that door, my shelter door down, and the people beside me still had theirs up, and it just like you just see a huge gust of wind just rush through there with the rain, and it was blowing the dust up. It blew this lady right by me completely down to the ground.
Oh
Just
my
straight
god!
line
Uh,
winds.
Yeah,
it was
It was
insane.
crazy.
I
In
was
a
like,
matter of seconds,
yeah,
it was just like just debris and branches and
it was
I hit
freaky.
a yeah. Chris was calling me, and it sounded like a freight train
I was
because
mhm.
scared.
it hit
I
him.
was. I was like, "Hurry, get here!" I was like, I thought a tornado was
Yeah,
coming.
because
Yeah,
it hit him before it did us because we were on the other side of town, and it
mhm.
sounded like a freight train coming. I was freaking out and stuck in the middle of getting my brother some food from McDonald's, and as soon as they was getting ready to hand us his food, their stuff all went down. So we got out
Yeah.
of there just in time. But as soon as I went and dropped my brother off, here comes this big straight line wind, looked like like not a hurricane, but a tornado is
Yeah.
what it
It did.
looked like.
It was
And
freaking me
all of a
out.
sudden, I hit a brick wall of water and almost hydroplaned, and
Man.
it was serious. And we all got PTSD from that flood
Yeah.
that came and just like destroyed our community. I mean, it was so bad.
Yeah.
It was on the news, all worldwide news.
Yeah.
Um, so
Well,
anytime it does something like that, it
it.
shakes you up.
Hmm.
Mm.
So what happened to me? It wasn't as bad as what happened to you guys, but Steve decided he was going to see that new Mad Max movie today, and I wasn't really feeling it. Didn't really want to go. I said, Steve, if you don't care, I've got to do some things with the shop and get some stuff ready to ship out and stuff. And he said, okay. He said, I get it. So we were able to get him a free ticket. He didn't have to pay anything to go see the movie because I'm a AMC Stubs member. And so I think it's like 2 free tickets a month or something like that. And so where he would have had to pay 14 to go see it at the IMAX and in the AMC theater, he didn't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
So he was like, wow, I get to go and see this for free. He said, I'll pick us up some supper on my way home. And I was like, okay. So he brought us Jersey Mike's. But
Ooh, that sounds
anyway,
good.
he left out about around 12ish. The
Mhm.
movie was supposed to start at 12:30. And he didn't want to get stuck in traffic. So he left out. I had my stuff all set up back here to do t-shirts. And about 10 minutes after Steve left, it hit. It started just flooding rain, wind. Thankfully, we didn't really have any lightning with this, but the
Mhm.
wind was bad. It flooding rain. I could see the trees outside going back and forth, and I was worried about Steve. I thought, is he having to drive in this? Are people driving crazy? Because Louisville's crazy anyway. But when it rains or storms or snows or anything like that, people get worse and they do more stupid stuff. So I was worried about him. Uh, Reggie evidently got scared of the storm and leaped
Mm.
over the gate, like that canvas gate that I
Ooh.
pull across back there to keep him back in the bedroom because him and Sammy want to fight sometimes. If Reg comes in here and Sammy starts that barking and gets up close to Reg will turn on him and then they'll get in a fight. And so I try to keep them separated when I'm busy back here doing something. So evidently he got scared and jumped over that and came back here with me. But then he wanted to get over here in the cords where we have the stuff for our internet. And the last time he did that, he dug into the cords and unplugged the internet.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, you can't do this now. And so I said, you're going to have to go over there, Reggie. And I was worried about Steve. I was dealing with the dog. Sammy was barking his head off. And I finally just screamed, y'all shut up. You know, it's like screaming at kids. It's probably a good thing I don't have kids. I said, I'm a nervous wreck. I can't take this. And I'm always nervous when I get ready to make a shirt for somebody else. When I make one for me, not so much because if I screw it up, I screw it up, you know. But if I'm making it for somebody that's paid me to make this shirt, I want to make sure I do a good job. I'm sure Candace
Yeah.
understands that. Um, she creates and stuff like that. Uh, so I finally got a chance to message Steve and I said, let me know when you can if you're all right, because I'm worried about you because the storm hit about 10 minutes after you left. And he was like, no, I didn't run into anything. I was in at the theater in no time. I was like, "Oh, all right, well, that's a relief. At least he didn't get in any storm. That goes to show you Louisville's so big that sometimes it could be storming like crazy in one area of Louisville and not doing anything somewhere else. So anyway, now that I've blabbed on about stuff like that, we'll go ahead and that's probably given everybody enough time to get queued up to the Columbia Pictures logo on here. And Candace, since you are watching it on Tubi, I know you know the movie
Yeah.
forwards, backwards, inside out, and all that. But if you do need help getting caught back up with us, I'll be glad to help you out with that.
Okay.
If anybody comes in here later and wants to join us on here, we've only got 4 on here. I've got 6 more slots that I could fill. So feel free to join us or let me know that you want to join us. So with that being said, I'm not sure what you doing, huh?
I'll do something with my computer's acting weird.
Oh, do you need to get back here?
Oh, no.
Okay. I was going to say, if he has to fool with the internet, I might go away for a little bit, but, well, maybe he is getting back here. Do you need me to move?
No.
Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the countdown going here. We'll do the 3, 2, 1. No, we're not doing 5.
19.
He does that sometimes. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Press play. And hopefully y'all won't mind if I eat one of these donut sticks because my blood sugar.
No, Dana, you're not allowed to do that.
Sorry, Chris. I might pass out if I don't, and that would not be good.
We don't want
Well, we don't want that.
Damn, you know what we should have got?
What's
Some
that?
Twinkies and Etta coolers.
Yeah, that would have been a cool snack to have.
I just love how this movie just starts with that shot of that library.
And I think this is because I worked for library systems for so long that this shot I love more now even than I did when I was a kid.
Yeah. This is definitely one of my top opening scenes of any movie.
And you know whose mom that is?
Whose mom is that?
That's Ray Finkle's mom.
Oh, look, little footballs. Laces out.
And
Little
I
football.
Dan Marino.
the Louisville Free Public Library, where I worked for several years, the stacks that she was in, where she was shelving books and the books were flying back and forth, that's exactly how the stacks at Louisville Free Public looked.
Jesus.
Some of those like really old libraries can look really creepy.
Mm-hmm. Of course, we didn't have a card catalog, but when I first started my very first library job, we did have a card catalog.
Mm. That's what I was used to, those card catalogs.
I don't, and not to like give away any kind of spoilers or anything, but if in the new Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, there is a callback to this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. Candace is right.
Wasn't there also another one because the lions come alive?
Yeah.
I just think it's great. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just the nostalgia of it or what it is, but I love it.
That Bankman burning hell on I love this, that it goes straight from that great library opening into this and Bill Murray.
Yeah. And I can't think of the guy's name, but he's in Christine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's one of Buddy Repperton's buddies.
Yeah.
I just love this. I love the mind games that he's putting this poor guy through.
Oh yeah, that guy is Buddy Repperton's main friend. If Buddy Repperton can have any friends, that is.
I never really could tell like who Buddy Repperton's main friend was in Christine, like because he had 3 different. That guy, he had Malcolm Denaire, which I can't remember the character he played, but you know, he's the same guy. He was also in Popcorn.
Mhm.
and he's the one that gets run down and crushed into the alley by Christine. And then there's the guy that played Stu in Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah, that's Stu Charno. Is actually
Yeah,
his.
well, that's his real name. Yeah, Stu Charlie. What was his name in Friday the 13th Part 2?
Chris.
It was not Chris, Steve.
I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen Part 2.
I'm having like a brain fart there. I'm not sure if Batman is frozen there or
Frozen Empire.
no. I think Batman's frozen on the screen.
I think so. I hope he's not having internet issues.
I hope not. Hopefully he'll get to come back in here.
Mm.
The effect is pissing me off. Okay,
His name
Batman's
was Ted.
Ted. Yeah, that's right, Batman. Thank you.
Sorry, I was looking up on another what do you call it, tab.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You
Yeah,
can
we
get
was afraid that you had some storms or something and you was having internet issues.
No, I think my phone does that. But if I go to another tab, it'll maybe be frozen. But yeah, I was looking his character's name up in Friday 13 Part 2, and it was Ted.
You know, I've never met Ernie Hudson, but I wonder how he feels about being left out on the original poster.
Now we've seen Ernie Hudson plenty
We've
of
seen him, but
times,
we've never went and met him personally.
but he always seemed really nice.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. But he's awesome in The Crow as well. I mean, a lot of people, when they think of him, he's like, he was Winston in Ghostbusters, but
You
like
know, like
his character is very underrated in The Crow.
yeah, that too. But when I think of the
Tongo.
Ghostbusters, I think of all four Ghostbusters. I don't leave him out. Like he's in my mind. He's the guy. I understand that they formed as the three, but
Yeah.
he joined their their league, I guess is how you would say it. So therefore becoming the fourth Ghostbuster.
Right. And he joins early on, really.
Yeah, I mean they've not been, together very long. So
Well, I guess kind of like they started out because when they first introduced themselves to people, they did that commercial like "We're here to help you."
yeah.
And somebody I also don't want to forget, and Candace will get me if I forgot this person, is Mr. Rick Moranis, and
Oh
he's going to
yes.
show up, and Sigourney Weaver as well.
I think Rick Moranis, he just makes, I don't know. I love him in both the first and the second one. But his character, especially when he gets locked out of his apartment. Oh,
And
this
this
And
guy
have
lady
you,
is
here that
hilarious.
we're talking to, I think he's been on a lot of stuff as well.
Yeah, I've seen him. I can't really tell you what I've seen him in, but he's one of those faces that you recognize,
Yeah.
and have you guys have you, I know Kenneth watched it with me, but Batman Nerd or Dana, have you ever watched the documentary about Ghostbusters called Ghost Heads?
I don't think I have. I'd like to.
It, yeah, it's just basically a documentary, like focusing on the fans, like the super fans of Ghostbusters, and so they kind of cover about 3 or 4 different people throughout the documentary, and it's really cool. It's because I think Dan Aykroyd was the one that put the documentary together,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it's worth checking out.
I'll have to look that one up.
As a little girl, I think one of my first crushes was Egon.
Yeah, Egon's that lovable, nerdy guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always
Always the
attracted
quiet
to that
ones.
guy.
Yeah. Now I've got a ad, so it'll even itself out.
And there's a big stack of books in the middle of the stacks. No human being would stack books like this. Well, there's some slime there on the card catalog.
I don't know if you already mentioned this or not, Diane, but I mean it's really cool that we're watching this now. And this year's the 40th anniversary of the movie. So definitely, I was expecting as big as Ghostbusters, which I know the new movie came out this year, Frozen Empire. But I don't know. I guess I was just expecting as big as of a franchise that Ghostbusters is. I was expecting more of the celebration of the 40th anniversary this year from
Yeah, exactly.
all kinds of different companies, but I've really not seen any kind of news as of yet of them like planning anything or doing anything special. I know there's been talk of like releasing some new action figures from the real Ghostbusters cartoon, but that's about it.
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to make our own celebration tonight since the powers that be don't seem to want to give this movie any special treatment.
Now I did have an ad. No, on your end, they've come and seen her, right? And they're like talking about
Egon's got one of the meters out, and they just saw the ghostly woman at the shelves.
So they've not walked back out to her yet.
No, they just now discovered her. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Blissful.
Just let me know whenever they walk back out to her.
Pulling Ray by the ear then. Egon got out the meter again. He was like, Peter was like, stop that. So now they're walking back out of the stacks and they're walking towards the apparition now. And Peter's introducing himself.
He's trying to make small talk with this guy. She's just like, shut up.
I love it when she just very slowly eventually turns around and puts her finger up to her lips and says,
Yeah.
I know he used to have it, but he may still have it. I'm not sure. But Noah had a pop figure of the library ghost.
Yeah, it's
oh, that's awesome.
It's over here somewhere, I think, on one of these shelves.
Yeah, I can't remember if he still had it or not, but yeah, I know it was on his shelf.
So
I think if I remember correctly, the puppet that they use for the when she transforms, I think they use that later for Fright Night.
That'd be cool.
For the bat at the end.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What part was it in Fright Night?
The puppet that they use for the ghost that she transforms, they use the same one for the bat at the end in Fright Night.
Oh, really? I can see that. I didn't know that though. That's awesome.
To me, this is. Go ahead, Dana.
Oh, I was just going to say, Peter at this point, Bill Murray's character, is pretty much the skeptic.
Yeah.
Here. I mean, he becomes a believer by the end of the film, but right now he's, I think, the lone skeptic.
Yeah, he kind of looks at things sarcastically. Like he's kind of in the middle, I believe, of if he really believes in this stuff or if he's like, well, I'm just going to go along with it.
Right.
So, did Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, did they become friends on the set of Stripes, or were they friends before that? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
I don't know. Batman, do you know?
No.
Just curious because I mean I know that like after they did Stripes, I'm pretty sure that's it's when they began working on Ghostbusters was after the release of that. Which I will say this, as much as I love Ghostbusters, um, my favorite Bill Murray movie is Stripes.
I love Stripes, but I don't know. Meatballs is hard to beat for me. That original Meatballs, I absolutely love it. And then,
Yeah,
When
Meatballs is great,
it
mhm,
comes
but
to Bill Murray, this is my favorite that he's in.
mhm.
what
And I
put
don't
me
know if I
over
like
the
the first or second one better.
what put me over the top for Stripes being my favorite is because it also includes PJ Souls, and I love PJ Souls. She's one of my favorite like women from the horror genre from that time period, and I love the scene in Stripes between her and Bill Murray because it's pretty like they're like flirting in the kitchen, and a lot of that was I read was improvised by Bill Murray.
Mhm. What in the world's he
You
drinking there? What kind of booze is he drinking?
I'm not sure.
know, this might
Uh,
be my favorite movie that any of these guys are in. Um, and that's saying something because I really love Nothing But Trouble when it comes to Dan Aykroyd.
yeah, that's my
But
favorite Dan movie.
but Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies of all time. The first and the second one. They're like in my top 10 definitely.
Mm.
So yeah, I would think that they would, as much as I love Nothing But Trouble, I would have to pick Ghostbusters over that.
Now,
So look, I was gonna say just a little bit of trivia about the end of Ghostbusters. If nobody's ever noticed, but there is a vintage porn star at the end of Ghostbusters.
Ron Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy.
Yeah.
so this movie's got it all, even vintage porn stars. I was going to mention another favorite Bill Murray movie of mine is What About Bob? And I would love
Oh
to
God,
do
I
a
love that
We
movie.
on
love
What
that
About Bob.
movie.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to, Dang. That movie's great.
Yeah. Now
I
this
think for
lady,
me,
I can't place her, but she's in a lot of films too. She's one of those women that
Um,
you see in a
yeah,
lot of
I know
things.
her too. I'm trying to think where I know her from.
I know her from something. I'm gonna look her up because
it's my favorite Bill Murray is Scrooge, this
I
one,
love
and
Scrooge.
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack's fantastic too. There's just so many of them.
Like I said, Stripes my favorite. Then second for me would probably Ghostbusters, and then third maybe Groundhog Day, or
Heck
what
yeah.
what about Bob? Well, it's great, like you said, Dana.
Yeah, it's just that whole I think about that scene in One About Bob where he's like, I need when he's telling Richard Dreyfuss that. I think about that when I'm on the job and somebody will call in or they'll contact me and it's like I needed something yesterday. I think of Bill Murray going, I need. It's like you people are needy. You're too needy. And speaking of Rick Moranis, there he is with
yes.
Sigourney Weaver.
And that reminds me. So Rick Moranis is great. I know Candace is not a huge fan of it, but I love Rick Moranis in the Little Shop of Horrors remake.
Mhm.
Um, and so I'd spoke on previous streams of yours, Dana, about how I was wanting to go to Wonderfest to meet Joe Dante, but he canceled.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason he canceled is because he is actually filming a new Little Shop of Horrors movie called Little Shop of Halloween Horrors.
Hmm.
And there has been kind of speculation that Rick Moranis might be involved in it in some capacity.
Now that's interesting. I'm intrigued by that. Now here's the commercial that we were talking about a little earlier. It's on Sigourney Weaver's television. And here's another reason for me to like Sigourney Weaver's character. She has my name.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, something I noticed a minute ago that I had actually never noticed before while watching Ghostbusters as many times as I've seen it, believe it or not. But her apartment number is 2206, which is the last four digits of my childhood phone number.
Wow. So, speaking of coincidences, Chris, did you tell Candace about the
The
pillowcase?
pillow? Yeah. That's
Yeah, I was
crazy.
telling him. I said that's so crazy because he said the woman in the movie had like her whole bedroom like that. That is a
Mm.
print that I have looked every for because I love vintage, type stuff, and I have looked for that print and other things. I've never been able to find it. So that was so weird, and coincidental. Whenever he said, "Well, she had everything like her
Yeah.
bedding and her curtains
Curtains and
and everything."
everything. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about this last night after we did the stream and stuff, Dana, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be something if the pillow we have was the pillow from the movie?
I did get it
That
like a
would be
Goodwill or
even more
somewhere.
crazy. Well, hopefully you wouldn't have something like that in your refrigerator. She just opened the refrigerator and it's greeted to this creature saying "Zool." I think I would close my refrigerator too.
Mhm. I think most anybody who watched this film as a kid become obsessed with it. I know there's some people that don't like Ghostbusters. I can't fathom that.
I'm sorry, I
But
don't trust you to use Candace's terms. I don't trust somebody that doesn't like Ghostbusters.
it's so hard to understand because, but I'm sure that there's people that hates every movie that's ever made.
And there's Annie Potts.
Yeah, I always loved her
I
character.
love this conversation. It's like any phone calls, no. Any customers, no.
Me and my youngest nephew, he's 6 years old. We're going to be 6 years old. We always do the. He'll give me the telephone, and he'll act like somebody calling. I go, Ghostbusters. What do you want? He goes crazy. He loves it. He said, "Do it again. Do it again."
That's a great interpretation of Annie Potts in this movie,
She's
too.
from Kentucky, right?
I mean, she may very well be. I
I'm
just
not sure.
hadn't heard.
I believe she is. I may misspoke and misremembered, but I believe she is.
PJ, is that your fridge at the end of the month? So you have that creature screaming Zool from your refrigerator? Man, you better get the Ghostbusters.
She's from Nashville, Tennessee, but I could have swore that I seen that she was from Kentucky.
She could have lived here at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it was another one of those designing women actresses that was from here. Okay, so she grew up in Franklin.
Oh,
Kentucky.
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Pretty sure that's where Miss Elizabeth is from too.
Oh, really? Where is Franklin?
Or not Franklin. No, she's Miss Elizabeth is from Frankfurt.
Frankfurt. Okay.
I think got these big old things on Sigourney Weaver's head.
It's like muscle stimulators or something.
TENS unit. I just love their process of what they're putting her through to try to see if she's telling the truth.
Peter was like, as soon as she came into the office and was talking to Janine, you seen his head pop up. Like, I'm sorry, but Peter Bankman's a total horn dog on this movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just want to say something, put it out there because it's something I've always thought about, and I've always talked to Candace about this. Is that and no disrespect at all to any like newer actresses out there in Hollywood, but there is no really new actresses out there that really stand out to me as far as like their look, because to me this era and like decades before this were some of the most beautiful actresses to come out of Hollywood,
Mhm.
and there's really nobody nowadays where I can like, well, that she's one of the most beautiful actresses of all time. And I don't mean any disrespect to any newer actresses, but it's just that like because Sigourney Weaver is beautiful, Annie Potts beautiful. I mean, which there are beautiful women, nowadays as well, but just none of them really stand out to me. Like you got
Like
like
unique is what you're trying to say.
Anya Taylor Joy from that new Mad Max movie, and she's done other stuff. And you got what's that one new girl's name is getting popular? Sydney Sweeney or something like that. Like I mean, they're attractive, but they're not like they don't. They just kind of like are like cannon fodder. In my
I think
opinion.
that Jenna Ortega is a very beautiful young woman. I think that she has a
And she is,
sultry.
but she just kind of looks a lot like a lot of other. Like she doesn't look exactly like her because Maya Goth kind of has an odd look, almost like a Shelley Duvall, and that's one of the ones that really stands out to me is Maya Goth because of her look is a lot different from some of these other newer actresses.
I think like with Sigourney Weaver and Annie Potts, people like that, especially Sigourney Weaver, like at this stage in her career, has a classic beauty.
Yeah.
And why by that I mean like a classic Hollywood beauty. You look at Sigourney Weaver, you go and look at actresses from the golden age of Hollywood, and you will see similar the way they do their makeup, the way they do their hair.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I think that's why I feel that way because she comes across as like she's a very classy lady, and she has respect for herself, and they don't have to show themselves to be sexy.
mhm.
They can dress appropriately and still be sexy.
And I mean, I honestly think Sigourney Weaver is sexy when she gets possessed. I mean, and she's not getting
Oh
naked
yeah.
or anything. It's just the way she carries herself during those scenes.
She's very seductive though.
Yeah.
Mm.
Were you sure you're using that thing correctly? Like, he's not getting any ratings from her refrigerator.
I wonder how much Coca-Cola paid them to put their product in this movie.
Coca Cola is very prominent. I like that furniture. That's some furniture I'd like to have right there. Of
I was
course,
always intrigued by that, like hand over there by that lamp on the table.
right?
Like
That's weird.
it's very strange. I like it.
No, I've not had any ads, but you guys must be ahead of me because they're in the fridge right now.
Okay, so this is
We're just a
after
little ahead.
I'm just a little bit after the fridge. They're in her living room talking.
Yeah.
Because they just came to the fridge. I don't understand why. It seems to do that though. I don't
Yeah,
understand that.
unfortunately, Tubi does that sometimes. I've had that happen to me too.
So she's pushing Peter out the door
Yeah,
now, pretty
and
Yeah,
much.
that's where I'm at. I fast forwarded it.
Okay.
he's like, "No kiss," and it's like, "Dude, come on." And there's Rick Moranis again. Rick Moranis is so lovable.
He gets locked out of his
But
apartment.
what's
That's one of my favorite scenes. I don't know why. Just the way he sees
it's just awkward.
he sees Peter and he just like got the look on his face. It's so funny.
It's like, oh my gosh, that guy's coming out of Dana's apartment. I'm just
It
gonna
makes him
say,
adorable. I know,
yeah,
you know.
it does. It's just like when I watch those young interviews with Robert England, I said, Robert England's so adorable, and other people would look at him and it's like, no. No, he's not. Steve thinks I'm nuts, though.
TJ brought up an interesting question. He says, "Has anyone read the script when it was originally supposedly Eddie Murphy in the Winston role? Wonder how different it was." I've not read the script, but I have heard about that, and also I believe it was John Belushi was in the original script in the role of Peter instead of Bill Murray. Um, but unfortunately, John Belushi passed away and wasn't able to do that. So,
Yeah,
but I
I'm glad
think,
though it ended up being what it
yeah,
was.
because I feel like as much as I like John Belushi, no disrespect to him at all. I'm a huge fan of everything he did, but I feel like Bill Murray was perfect for the role of Peter.
So let's talk about our favorite apparition on this movie, and let's see how many of us like this one apparition. And we haven't seen this apparition just yet, but my favorite is Slimer. That's my all-time favorite apparition in these movies. So if anybody has a different one they'd like to share, I'd love to hear it.
Well, my favorite is probably the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Stay
Um,
Puft Marshmallow Man.
I,
That's
I love the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I have one of those big blow up, like you put like the fan inside it and it like inflates.
yeah.
I have like a big huge costume of that other Stay Puft Marshmallow Man that I wore one year on Halloween. I stood up in front of her house and I waved to all the traffic going by her house.
I bet they got some looks from people going by, didn't it,
Well,
Chris?
it definitely did my neighbors, but that was kind of the point why I did it.
Yeah, those oddball neighbors y'all got.
Yeah, for sure.
I like Slimer so much that he's the little screen creature that I've got on my movie munchies. I've added like some popcorn and Coke to him, but that's Slimer.
TJ, I just seen your comment about back when I was talking about women of Hollywood a few minutes ago. It said Kiki Palmer is pretty attractive. I don't even know who that is, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not. That name sounds slightly familiar, but I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, I'm assuming she's a newer actress. But like I said, like there's really no any kind of newer actress except for maybe a couple, like I said, Maya Goth and Jenna Ortega, um, that really stand out to me. So I'm sorry.
Sorry, I got distracted there for a second. My mom had sent me a message. Their electric must be back on because she sent me a
Oh,
message.
good.
That's good.
I asked her if it was, and she's not got back to me. But yeah, when you was talking about now before,
Love this segment.
this is my
You did.
this is one of my favorite scenes right here, and this is one that me and Chris and my brother quote
Oh, we
all the
quote
time.
that line from that mate
We'll
all the
just look at
time.
each other and maybe go, "What in the hell you doing?"
they
And
they
we all know what we're referencing.
yeah.
Because I love that. Because could you just imagine being a maid, just somebody working,
And
and all
these
of a
guys
sudden
and just blast your cart of
go
supply.
like around the corner and just get blasted up? I mean, if those are in real life, I mean, I'd be freaking out. So,
I would too.
But
I think she had the best comeback line. What the hell you do?
this whole sequence, this whole scene is like the first time we see all the Ghostbusters in their flight suits and proton packs and all their gear. And I always thought it was odd that Peter is the only one out of all four Ghostbusters that doesn't tuck his pants from his flight suit into his boots.
Interesting, yeah.
But
But
Riley
it
with
shows
the
that
cigarette.
shows like his laziness and his kind of like carefree. He's not taking it too serious.
Yeah, but Dana, I think Slimer is probably my favorite apparition as well.
Mhm.
But I like that cab driver too. He's like a skeleton, like cab driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this. I don't know if I'm ahead or behind you, but Egon sees that man. He's putting the He's sitting and scanning him, and then he just pokes him.
Well, where I'm at, Peter's about to get slimed.
Yeah, he says,
that's
"Come
fine.
in, Ray."
Yeah, I think he can hear you, Ray. He's like, don't move.
He said, "It's
There
right
he
here,
comes.
Ray," looking at me. I think you can hear. Where I'm at, he's just now getting ready to get slimed.
Does everybody have a favorite Ghostbuster of the four?
Yes, Ray is my favorite.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Ray too.
And you said George's Venkman, Batman nerd.
Yeah, Bankman.
I like
Well,
Venkman. Yeah.
For the longest time, ever since I was a kid till probably up until a few years ago, Ray was always my favorite.
Yeah.
But in recent years, it has switched to Egon.
No, growing up, Egon was my favorite.
Yeah,
But
I love him.
for some reason, I love Dan Aykroyd in this. But I was reading Russell's comment, and it says, "Nothing but trouble when Chevy looks at Dan and sees his penis nose while eating hot dog and smiles." It's so funny. So that is one of our favorite movies. It's Nothing But Trouble, and and we love to quote things. So that's another quotable scene for us. Go on, folks, grab yourself a couple dogs. And he's got that penis on his nose. It's just crazy.
TJ says, "Get up on it, Crater." LOL. She was in Scream Queens and Nope.
What?
I think he's talking about that Kiki, whatever her name.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know what the hell you're talking about.
I
The only
didn't
movie,
I didn't care for Nope, and I didn't care for that Scream Queen show either. So
Well, see, did we start watching that?
We did. I liked the first two
Scream Queens?
seasons of Scream Queens, actually. The first season I thought was the best with the Red Devil thing that they were doing. But I didn't realize that she was in that. I mean, if I'm sure I probably know I just don't realize it. And I've seen Nope as well, and it was okay, but I didn't really know a lot of the actors in that when I watched it. But yeah, I'll do my research, I guess. I mean, like I said, but still, I don't think it's going to change my opinion on how I feel about a lot of newer actresses.
oh, this old lady, like the head of the hotel's trying to assure there's nothing going on, and meanwhile they're upstairs fighting with Slimer, or in that ballroom, rather, I guess.
They destroy that ballroom.
Yeah, I believe it's the one-liners from Bankman that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Not shooting text. Go get her, Ray.
Well, probably my favorite Venkman line is right after this scene after they capture Slimer. He says, I believe it's after this. It's the scene after this where he came. He said, we came, we saw, we kicked his ass.
There's another one towards the end of the film where they're arguing with the character that William Atherton plays, and they say, "That's
Walter Peck.
man has no dick." I always laugh at that one.
Which is hilarious because his name is Walter Peck. And if nobody gets that, I'm not going to explain it to you.
I think we all get it.
But like you saying, Dan, you said your favorite apparition is Slimer. I mean, like I said, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is mine, but I would say that Slimer is definitely the most popular amongst most Ghostbusters fans. I mean, he had his own comic book, he had his own cartoon. He was like on all of the stuff that the merchandise that they were coming out. Like they had the Slimer toothpaste gum
Well, I was getting ready to mention
and
that. Yeah, that was one of
all
my favorite
kinds of
things as a
stuff.
kid. So when I was a kid, we had this place called Magic Mart. I don't know if anybody else remembers Magic Mart. I think Chris does. And we would
Oh,
go
of course,
there,
I remember Magic Mart.
and I would always pick up that Slimer toothpaste gum. It looked like it was in a toothpaste tube, and it was
Mhm.
green and real slimy whenever you'd eat it. But it had a real like I can't describe the taste. It was like a not a sour taste, but it was so weird. And I remember when they stopped carrying that, I was so distraught because I loved it. Just like Ecto coolers. I love the Ecto coolers.
Yeah.
And I've got another commercial, but um
But
Rob Zombie standing back there.
speaking speaking of Slimer, let me go grab something I wanted to show on.
my mom said that her electric is still off, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
But
I was hoping it would be back on.
Me too.
I had Steve get me this. I mean, it tasted good too to drink, but I had Steve get me this primarily because look, this guy's on here. This is Oxy Shred and Slime. It was a energy drink, and you can see the Ghostbusters logo up there.
That's
But I had
cool.
to have this
Yeah, I
because.
seen that on Facebook a while back.
Mm-hmm.
Now when they had the resurgence of the Ecto cooler, we could never find those. We looked and looked and looked.
Never could find them. We found a lot of different Ghostbusters stuff that they brought out, like the Ghostbusters cereal, and they brought out like the bags of Stay Puft marshmallows, and just a lot of stuff. And we kept a lot of that stuff after we finished it. We kept the wrappers and the
Yeah.
boxes. Um, that's something we've done for a while. We we kind of collect cereal boxes if it's a really like a limited like time cereal or just a bot like the monster cereals for like when they have around Halloween like Frankenberry, Blueberry, all that. But I think we're running out of room for most of our stuff. So
Yeah.
Okay, I
Oh, we
gotta
got
bring
things
up this.
weird.
I gotta bring up this scene here where basically Ray is molested
yeah,
by the
Dana,
ghost.
you got to put a trigger warning on this video because
Now where are you all at? Because I am behind. Because this is the How is
Ray,
Elvis and
Ray is
How is
41
Elvis?
getting
minutes.
his pants unzipped by the ghost.
Oh,
And
so you're way ahead.
now we're seeing Ernie Hudson outside the.
it's going to apply to be the new Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I
Yeah, he's
always thought that scene was weird and supposed to be a kids movie.
Hey, we're used to all that stuff and all the kids' movies. That's all that we see.
Yeah, in the 80s, stuff that was, nothing was really looked at as being sensitive to anybody back then. Like, oh, this is going to offend somebody because they were doing stuff in the 80s. It was targeted towards kids, but they would always have adult jokes in there. Even The Simpsons, which is also targeted towards kids, had a lot of adult jokes. And just I just think a lot of people nowadays it is okay to be sensitive to things. I'm saying, but to be overly sensitive to something that really doesn't ultimately affect you in the long run, come on, guys.
Now I am where Dana and Peter is standing out in front of the fountain. Am I
okay.
ahead or?
So I'm where.
He's just doing like the skip dance, and then she sees him. She's talking to this other guy, and now she's
okay.
walking over to talk to Peter.
Hey Ben. Ben says that scene with Ray and the ghost was part of a longer cut scene where they were fighting a ghost at an old military fort.
Yeah. I think it's in the special features.
Guy putting the stuff up his nose. He doesn't like Peter.
Do you think that is the one that she is with that has the baby that she has the baby with in the second one?
Probably.
You think so? That's what I always figured.
Yeah.
They never say who the father
They never
was.
say no, but I always but I think they mentioned that he like went away on some kind of like a, tour or something like that. I can't remember. I'd have to watch it, and I've not watched it in a while.
I was always like under the impression, and I'm probably wrong here, but it just I always was under the impression that Peter was the father, but she just didn't want to admit to him that he was the father
Could be, but
because she didn't
very well
because she
be.
knew like she liked him, but she also knew that he was irresponsible.
Mhm.
And he couldn't settle down or take anything serious. That's because that's just what I got from his character, because he was just all about having fun and not taking anything seriously. And maybe she just she was just trying to protect him because she didn't want to worry him about being a father.
Mhm. That is a very, workable theory, and I would go with it.
I mean, that's just how I like explained it to myself in my head whenever, because like I said, they never mentioned who the actual father was.
He's telling that guy, he said, "You look a little pale. You need a little sun."
I think I forgot to mention. I think they based the Slimer apparition off of John Belushi.
I could
They
see
Yeah,
that.
they did. Pretty
We
sure
actually,
they mentioned that in that Ghost Heads documentary I was talking about. They kind of go into that, and yeah, which I didn't know that until I watched that documentary.
we actually met that guy who did the puppeteering.
Oh, well, let's see, what was his name? Because he also does like puppeteering for the Mogwais in Gremlins 2, and then
He does
his
the
name,
puppeteering.
yeah, he did Beetlejuice stuff too.
He does the puppeteering for Beetlejuice, especially that scene where the smoking guy.
Cigarette smoking man, yeah.
Yeah, but
But his name's Mark Brian Wilson. That's it.
yeah, he was really nice. So when I went up to meet him, he had this really awesome um, picture that I had never seen from Beetlejuice, and I have seen probably anything that you could ever imagine of Beetlejuice, but for some reason, never seen this still. It was of the waiting room, but it had
The barber.
the cigarette smoking guy, and it had the barber
No,
and
I'm
Beetlejuice.
looking at it right now, Ken. It's not it's the shrunken head guy,
Smoking head guy, yeah. So
and
do you know
Beetlejuice
the
is in the
barber
barber.
Dana from Beetlejuice?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He said
Yeah.
he had hair right down to his GD shoulders, and he says just trim it a
Trim
little.
it up.
That guy. So it had him in the afterlife, so it indicating that he had died. And I said, I have never seen this. And I had started talking to him in depth about Beetlejuice, and he was said he was so impressed with my knowledge of Beetlejuice. He said, I'm gonna give this to you. I said, really? He said, yeah. He
Yeah,
said, I'm
he
gonna
was
give
really
this to
nice. I liked
you.
him.
He said nobody has ever sit and talked to me about this before. He said, no, I really want to give it to you. I said, well, thank you. So he was really nice, that guy that did
Um,
Slimer.
Me and Candace also met Tony Cecere,
Mhm.
which you may know him as like he's one of like the top like fire sequence guys in those horror films, because he was the guy that was on fire in The Thing. He was the Freddy that was on fire at the end of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, which his daughters are two of the jump rope girls in Nightmare on Elm Street. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that he also does the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man when he's on fire at the
Fire,
end.
yeah.
So
It was really nice. It was cool meeting him too.
yeah, and he did like some like stuff as Ghostface too for the original Scream. I'm pretty sure.
I see here where TJ is leaving. TJ, I hope you feel better.
Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt people when they were talking, so I did put good night, TJ, in the.
Oh yeah, I see that. I didn't pay attention, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure his tooth is probably bothering him, and I completely get it, man. So yeah, I hope you feel better.
Yeah.
I like what Ben says there. about Beetlejuice.
The new Beetlejuice better start with them finally calling Beetlejuice's number in the waiting room.
Yeah, because remember he's got a shoot with GQ in an hour and a half.
Uh-huh.
Don't get me started on Beetlejuice. I'll never shut up. I love this scene.
Yeah. Hey, we just got some of those too. I don't know why, Batman, but Steve went out and bought a whole box of those things.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try them for a long time.
I thought it looked like the cans we had, but I didn't know if that was what you were drinking or not.
Whenever that terror dog's feet like crumbles that statue, I always thought that was the coolest thing. I don't know why. It just is. It always just like how strong that entity had to be to just break through concrete like that. But I love this part too. I hope I'm not ahead, but Dana's walking down the hall.
Well, Rick Moranis is having a party. He wants
Yeah.
Dana to come to his party.
He's wanting her to come in, and
This is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
he hears that she is having a date, and he's like,
crushed.
"You made a date?" She just can't get away from him. He's just like,
We're gonna play Twister. We're gonna do some break dancing. See that I would be like Rick Moranis. I'd be having a party and I'd be trying to get people to come. Yeah, we're gonna play Twister. We're gonna break dance.
I love in Ghostbusters 2 when he gets to become a Ghostbuster temporarily,
yeah,
and like at the end when everything like he thinks he's the one that done everything at the end. Like, he thinks he's the one that saved the day.
Everybody's cheering him on.
Yes, Blissful. When you remember, please send me that Ecto Cooler recipe, the copycat recipe. I will make that for an upcoming movie Munchies. There's no doubt about that. I'll do it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, Movie Dumpster. They also did a video of making the Ecto Cooler drink.
Mm-hmm.
We could just make our own. If we can't find them, we'll make our own.
To me, it always had this pineapple-y taste to it. And I loved it, like an orangey, pineapple-y taste.
I do remember in the past couple of years, I don't know if anybody, I know Candace follows him, but Dinosaur Dracula, he actually posted something on his Facebook page about a copycat recipe for Ecto Cooler. Do you guys follow Dinosaur Dracula at all? It's somebody I've been following for years.
No, I haven't, but I need to look him up because he sounds.
All he does is just kind of post like a lot of like vintage stuff from the 80s and early 90s and stuff, like as far as like merchandise and stuff goes. He covers like movies every now and then, but it's mostly just like merchandise stuff that he likes putting out there. Like old, like do you guys remember the Ninja Turtles pies that had the green feeling?
Custard pies.
Yeah, he had some of those that he posted not long ago. I was like, oh my God, I love the Ninja Turtles pies.
So
I never had them, but I've seen pictures of them.
Yeah, and there's a company, my friend Jeremy told me about, there's a company out there that makes like they're little canisters. They look like vitamin canisters, but they have like little bite-sized like turtle pies. Somebody made the recipe to taste exactly like them, and I can't think of what they're called. If I find those, I'll have to go back in my messages that he sent to me, and I'll let you guys know.
So y'all help me out here. Is Lewis an accountant? Is that what he is?
Probably.
Yeah, that's why he has that line that says, "Who does your taxes?"
Oh yeah, he's the taxi. Yeah, that's right.
And he's invited all his clients to this party. And there's
He almost have to throw that coat on that terror dog's head.
And then he's
which
like, "Did I
that's
see what I thought I saw in there?"
which
He's
that
gonna
particular
attack the dog.
which that particular terror dog that's after him is named Vince Clortho, um, and he's the key master, I believe it is, and Zool the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor.
There's a bear loose in my apartment.
Oh my gosh. He's
And they
right
kind
over that
of
wall.
they recreate this scene kind of in a way in Ghostbusters Afterlife with Paul Rudd.
Yeah, they do. But he's running for
Because
his dear life, and he goes up to that restaurant, and he just basically is at their beck and call, and they're just looking at him like he's crazy.
it's
They
awesome.
won't let him in. They're like, "Who is this crazy person?" I think he plays this role so wonderfully.
Mm-hmm.
He just slowly turns around, and you just see, and you don't see like the terror dog come. You just see it from the terror dog's point of view coming up to him. He says, "Maybe I got a milk bowl." He's trying to give that dog a milk bowl.
I don't think this thing wants a milk bowl. And then they just like, isn't this typical for big cities that everybody just goes back to their meal?
Yeah.
Well, it's New York, and like if you've heard, like a lot of stuff in New York, it's kind of like they don't have any kind of reaction to a lot of shocking things unless it's like super, super extreme, because they're just so used. The people that live there are so used to like just crazy stuff happening all the time. They're just kind of it's an everyday thing for them.
I think that's typical for any big city, even like Louisville or somewhere like
Well,
that.
like that, sadly, I'll tell you a story to illustrate this. And there's Sigourney Weaver being very seductive here. But when I was working for the library downtown, I had gotten off the bus and I was walking down 4th Street to get to the library. And I came across a man who was laying down in the middle of the road, and people were just back and forth, not paying any attention to this guy, whether he was dead or alive or he was passed out. And I was going to stop. I probably shouldn't have, but I was going to stop and ask him if he needed some help. Did he need me to call an ambulance or something? But then just before I got to him, somebody did kneel down to him and was talking to him, and I seen him moving. So I was like, but it took like there were probably 10 or 15 people that walked past that man and didn't even give him a second look. Are we
And
still going down?
see, here's the obliviousness of Peter's character, because like I said, he doesn't take anything serious, and now like he just sees that Dana here is being seductive, and that's all. It's all. He doesn't notice anything out like she's acting out of the ordinary or anything.
I
But
think
he's
he
just like,
knows that she
he
is.
just kind of sees like this is my shot to have sex with her.
I think he knows that she's possessed, but he just don't care.
Yeah, well, I mean that could be a possibility too.
Yeah.
And I thought of something, guys. We were talking about the possibility of like who would be the father of her child earlier. And have you guys ever kind of considered it being Lewis Tully as well? Because it is implied that they do have sex when they're both in the possessed state. Because they also reference that in Ghostbusters Afterlife, where the main character Phoebe's mother becomes the new gatekeeper, and Paul Rudd's character becomes the new keymaster, and they like talk about that after they become unpossessed in Afterlife, about like they had sex and it was like awkward and stuff. So there's a very possibility that Lewis Tully is the father of her child.
Could be. I never thought of that.
People always kid me about that line that was just a couple of seconds ago. Uh, there is no Dana, only Zool. People will kid me about that sometimes because, of course, my name's Dana.
That's a great line. That's a classic line that I think a lot
Oh yeah,
everybody remembers.
I would say that's a good theory, but then I don't know. Just part two takes place 5 years after this one.
yeah.
Well, I guess that's true. I didn't think about the time gap there. I always kind of like look at Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2. They take place immediately after one another, but I know that's not the case. Now I don't know why. I guess because where I grew up and I would always watch Ghostbusters, and like I would immediately after I ended
Me too.
Ghostbusters, I'd watch Ghostbusters 2.
Blissful, you're taking notes about that. I was just thinking it'd make a great idea for a T-shirt to have my face on there, maybe my cartoon face, not my real face, and have that line on there. There is no Dana, only Zool.
Is he talking to the horse yet for you
Yeah,
guys?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, he is. Yeah.
yeah. He wants to know, are you the master?
Guy up there, he just like the guy driving the wagon. He's just like, or the carriage is just like, what in the hell is this guy doing to my horse?
That horse is looking at him like that guy's crazy.
What an asshole!
There was a deleted scene where there were two bums that was also played by Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray.
Mm.
I didn't know that either.
My son is obsessed with the firehouse. He always has been. He wants to go there and visit one day. I would love to take him and let him.
Yeah, it would have been really cool if we could have visited when they were doing promotion for Frozen Empire because they
Yeah.
had the whole firehouse there in New York City, like decked out and Ghostbuster stuff, and it looked really awesome.
So they got poor Lewis in the straight jacket. And he's just asking people, "Are you the gatekeeper?"
No, I love it when he's got this contraption on his
Got
head
that
and he's got
strainer, it looks like
these
a
faces.
spaghetti strainer on his head.
Yeah, Noah and there it should be there behind you, Ken. He is an action figure of him in this get up with the helmet, and he has a pop figure. I think that's above you as well.
It's got the pop figure up here. He's got all the. It's got
Yeah.
all the pop figures and the little bitty whatever you call these things.
The mystery minis.
These little things.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
He's got a bunch of these. He's got these little guys. He's got a bunch of these. I don't know where he got these from.
Those came from Walmart when Ghostbusters Afterlife came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They came in like the little tubs, like the Marshmallow Man tubs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Uh-oh, Blissful lost control of the kitchen sink sprayer, so I'm thinking she got doused.
That's never good.
Yeah, the container popcorn. He's just like rolling it and sniffing the container.
Yeah, this is my favorite, probably favorite Rick Moranis. It's like scene of any movie is whenever he is got that
Ooh,
spaghetti
that's tough
strainer.
because I love Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, I did too, but I don't like it as much as this.
And I don't know. I love the scene where he's like got that contraption, Honey I Shrunk the Kids, where he's hanging over their yard and using the magnifying glasses trying to find the kids in the yard because he doesn't want to step into the yard, so he's just kind of gliding over it with this thing that's keeping him up. I love that scene.
He gets that coffee pot and he drinks that water out of it and he just smiles like ridiculous. He had any pots and they gone.
There's a can of tail back there.
He's painting him all this stuff.
Just like a kid or something, just walking around handing him like pans and lamps
And she's even like painting like a dog.
like a dog. Yeah.
Either that or it's something else.
Ben says Rick Moranis was great as Dark Helmet. I would have to agree.
Oh, I love this scene too. This is where they're talking about
This is one of my
Revelations.
favorite scenes. This
Yeah.
scene still creeps me out to this day. I love the way that they're talking back to one another,
Mhm.
back and forth with one another about the end of times and stuff. And to me, it
Well,
always creeps me out.
the dead are rising up, and
It gave me a chill.
mhm.
It still does. Like right now, I'm not even hearing it. I can hear it in my head with their voice. And it still gives me chill bumps.
I mean, as eerie as it may sound, the Book of Revelations in the Bible is probably the one I'm more well versed in
Yeah,
than any of them.
yeah. Because it's what is to come for those who believe, So to me, Ernie Hudson, like this scene, I don't think it would have came across the way it does with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
Yeah, because if they would have used Eddie Murphy, he would have been like a more comical approach. And while there is comical stuff from the characters, the least comical one is Winston, and I think he kind of brings some, down
Because
to earth type sensibility to it all.
he's just a normal guy,
Yeah,
coming into this job where these three scientists, they're versed in the scientific world. He's just this guy from New York, he's just a normal guy. So I think that really makes him even stronger as in the role of the Ghostbuster, because he has to learn as he's going along. It's not something that he's versed in. So I
and
really like
and
his character.
even though Dan Aykroyd is like, heavily involved with everything with Ghostbusters that comes out, um, I feel like Ernie Hudson is the only one of the original four that really carried the torch for the
He
legacy
did.
of
He still
Ghostbusters,
does. Yeah.
because he would attend all these conventions in full flight suit attire at these conventions, and
Because
that's
we would
awesome.
always be around him all the time, because we would see him like just out and about.
Mhm.
Like we never went up and met him, but he was always right there, and he just was always, you know, preaching Ghostbusters. Like you could
And yeah,
tell that his pride for being in that film was really, really deep. And
and I think the filmmakers from the newer films recognize that about him too, because if you've seen Frozen Empire and Afterlife, then he's kind of, Winston is the new like head, like CEO of the Ghost Corps,
yeah,
which is, where they're trying to come up with all these new like experiments and devices to trap ghosts, and like they're doing these like studies on them and stuff, and it's really cool, like, because they kind of, he went from being like the fourth member, just that applied to be a part to being like the head CEO over the Ghostbusters company in the new films.
Mhm.
and thank you, Blissful, for sharing our podcast link. I
Yes,
appreciate
Blissful
that.
is very good about that.
Lewis, he just sitting there sniffing on the cat.
I
And
just
this,
switched back to chat and I seen Ben said Rick Moranis was great as Dark Helmet, and
Oh, I read
I'm
that a while
kicking
ago. Yeah,
myself. I'm kicking myself that I absolutely forgot to mention that, because
yeah.
I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I like Spaceballs
Yeah.
better than I do Star Wars.
He's a huge Spaceballs fan, Chris.
I love Spaceballs. And
now,
you might even possibly see a Spaceballs character at the Horror Hound coming up this
there
fall.
you
So
go.
Now
Um,
I
here's
don't want to spoil anything.
we're gonna come up to a scene that I absolutely love. This song that's playing in the
Now,
background.
yeah.
That when the ghosts start
Mhm.
escaping and stuff, that is the most amazing song they could have ever
Yeah,
used for this.
it's one that I would tease my brother with for some reason. He always found it funny. Whenever he
it
goes, please,
is.
please. But the song, if you keep on playing the song, like that's not played on the actual movie, like because the whole song's not played on the movie.
Right.
It sounds so different.
Yeah, it,
The
it
parts are
does
different.
because I've listened to the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Russell I have to point this out. He said he's talking about this quote from Spaceballs. He says, "We lost the sweeps, the bleeps, and the creeps," and that's from Michael Winslow. But it just reminds me of another like scene in Spaceballs when they're using the big giant afro pick and they're combing the desert, and he calls out. He says, "Have you found anything?" And the one guy he says, "We ain't found shit."
But that guy who sings this song, his name was, I think it was Mick Smiley.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Just all hell's breaking loose. And here is one of my favorite scenes where all these different apparitions and entities are coming through. And I think this is where the right here it is. Here's one of my favorite apparitions is
Yeah,
the
cab driver.
cab driver. Yeah, he's so ugly.
It's all
He's so ugly and gross. Could you imagine hopping in a cab and that would be your cab driver?
I'd probably lose my mind if that happened, but
That was Tony Danza if he was a ghost.
Yeah. And I love Slimer coming out with those hot dogs.
yeah.
Whenever Noah was a little bitty boy, we got him all the Playmobil, like the firehouse and the Ecto one, and it's these cute little figures and stuff. And they actually had that hot dog guy.
Yeah, they came with a little cart and everything. Yeah, it was cool. I wish we still had that.
Mm-hmm. And I just love Dana whenever she's looking at all these ghosts and stuff just busting loose, and she's like walking and the windows bust out.
And it's kind of like in slow motion with her as she's walking.
And she's barely batting an eye. She's just like so focused in on that. I love it. And yeah, definitely. Like I said, my nephew loves Winston. Like, because at the time I thought it was his favorite. He said, "Well, Egon's my favorite." He said, "But Winston's my favorite too." I said, "Well, you can have two favorites."
Oh, yeah.
But for his birthday, he wants, because he has all the figures in the box, but he has just the three of them because he's got them twice. He's got them in the box and then three of them out of the box. The only one he's missing out of the box is Winston. It's these like big nice figures that his dad got him. He said, "I want Winston Zedamore's figure so I can play with him." I said, "Well, we'll try to find him for you so you can have him." But he's obsessed. All of our kids have been, my two nephews and my son, all three have always been obsessed with Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have an older nephew as well. It's from my side of the family. It's and he will be 19 this year. And I'm telling you, like, it's weird. Like, he was never into Ghostbusters for some reason.
He liked Back to the Future.
He loved Back to the Future, yeah, but and I don't think he ever got into Ghostbusters, or like, I never could get him into Gremlins. But I will say this, I will tell myself, this is probably a bad decision on my part, but when my nephew Grayson, who will be, like I said, he'll be 19 this year, but when he was about 5 or 6 years old, something like that, I was watching Frankenhooker in my room when I was still living with my mom, and he came in there and he just started watching it with me, and I was just like, he'll be all right.
Remember when he was little and he asked you if you had ever seen Ernest Goes to Hell?
Yeah. He was talking about Ernest Scared Stupid, but he said, "Chris, have you ever seen Ernest Goes to Hell?" I said, "No, but that'd be awesome."
He went everywhere else. He might as well went to hell too.
Yeah. There's old Carl Winslow.
Yeah. Yep. I'd forgotten he was in here.
Yeah. It's always a cop.
Yeah, this was
Crow, right? And the Crow is, and then Family Matters.
Yeah.
Die Hard, yeah.
Reginald Val Johnson is his name, and I
Yeah.
believe he is definitely, if not my favorite TV dad.
So, do you guys? I mean, Dan Pitt covered this, but do you know the story about him and P Diddy?
Don't bring that up. Don't bring that up. Don't bring that up.
That can't be true. That cannot be
Maybe.
true. It's so bizarre.
I really don't.
And if it is, it was their prerogative. So who?
Yeah, whatever.
Now, which one is it? Is it this one or the second one where the Titanic comes in and cheat?
That's the second one for
Second
sure.
one, yeah, it is.
She just laid a huge kiss on Lewis there.
I had a
She just freaking like towers over him.
Yeah.
And she was like treating him like it was kind of like Gone with the Wind with Clark Gable and what's her name that played Scarlett, because that's why he like dips her in Gone with the Wind and kisses her, and that's the same. But she dips him.
I'm where they're on the steps.
Well, they're in I guess that's the mayor's office.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just coming into the office there. Yeah.
Oh, I think this might be the part where he said, "This man has no dick."
yeah.
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 I can't stand that guy. I cannot.
William Atherton always plays a jerk.
He plays a good one.
Because he
Yeah,
said, because
Die
he was
Hard.
acceptable.
Yeah.
What about? Did you say something about Die Hard, Batman nerd?
Yeah, he was an a-hole in Die Hard.
Ridiculous.
I don't remember him in Die Hard. I remember Reginald Van Johnson being in Die Hard, but I don't remember him being in Die Hard.
I think he was like this news reporter, and he like interviewed John McClane's kids and stuff.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Yeah, I forgot about that. I
And
love
he's
Die
also
Hard.
the sequel too, On the Airplane.
Yeah, you're right.
Ben says he's in The Fly too.
He is. Yeah. I really like The Fly too. I know it gets a lot of hate sometimes, but I thought it was great.
With Jeff Goldblum?
No, The Fly 2 with Eric Stoltz.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now the first one I love. Now the original, the one with Vincent Price, that scares the ever living. There's a scene in there that's in
Yeah,
Little
I know it
Monsters.
is, too.
And that makes me so sick whenever I hear that. Help me!
But you
I
know
can't stand it.
that scene in the original Fly where Vincent Price and the other guy are standing by the spider web and they're not really noticing, but they're standing back to back in that one part of the scene. And the reason why they're doing that and can't look at each other is because they were breaking up laughing. They could not get through the scene unless they were not facing each other. That's why they're not in that scene.
That's neat. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Now, after this scene is they play this song called "Saving the Day," and that's probably my favorite song in the whole movie.
Yeah, I have to go with the song, the music when the ghosts are escaping. I just
The magic,
absolutely-
yeah.
It definitely fits it.
Like the actual song by itself, I'm not really fond of, but the part that they put in fits it, so it gives it that eerie
Yeah, it's very
feeling, and I love it. Yeah. I don't know if I like Back to the Future or Ghostbusters better. Both are really, really
Yeah, and they
near
did
and dear to me.
I'd have to think about it. I don't know.
growing up, a lot of the times we didn't have cable, so we had to rely on movies. And
Yeah.
movies that we watched all the time were the Back to the Future movies, the Ghostbusters, both of the Ghostbuster films. You know, those were the Ninja Turtles films. All three of those, you know, franchises are really, really near and dear to me because they were movies I watched all the time,
Yeah,
and
and
never got tired of.
it's a tough decision, man. I never really thought about that, which one I like better between those two. But I mean,
I
because
would
both
have
of
to
them
choose
are,
Ghostbusters.
I don't know.
As much as I love Back to the Future, and that's a real hard decision, but there's something about Ghostbusters that helped shape my love of horror, and because that's where my foundation is Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
So I am into the spooky stuff, and
And
that's
that's
what
not,
my core is. So I think that's why Ghostbusters might be a little bit more.
and
Mhm.
that's something I've never actually ever done before is have a back to back double feature of Ghostbusters and Back to the Future, or other way around. I should do that, and because it's tough for me because both of them are, super classic movies. They are both super quotable. They have multiple scenes about they both have a great cast.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's tough because I probably watched Back to the Future just as much as I've watched
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Well, you know, my dad,
But
he was obsessed with Back
yeah,
to the Future. So, you know, it
and
was something that he watched all the time.
he did, and I love both of them, both in their own different ways.
Mhm.
But gosh, it'd be hard. It's a tough one. I don't know how I would
Well,
choose between those.
I think with Ghostbusters is one I remember watching with my family, and
Yeah.
I know I've told a lot of funny stories about my dad over the years and us watching movies, but I remember when we watched this for the first time, my dad absolutely loved it, of course,
Yeah.
as we all did, and Dad kept saying, uh, "Who you gonna call? What you gonna do?" He kept doing that all the time, trying to do a take on the Ghostbusters
Well,
thing.
with the Ghostbusters, my mom was obsessed with it too, and you know, she loved the song. And the Rutherford Jr. She had the Rule 45. So I always it was something I always grew up that with, and Back to the Future and all that. I grew up with those, and I don't know because I would always watch them back to back. I never just watched one. Would watch the first one, then immediately watch the second one. That's what I do with Back to the Future and the
Yeah, same thing.
TMNT. And Chris he laughs at me sometimes. So I love TMNT, the third one. And a lot of people don't like that one, but I love it. But with the
I just
Ghostbusters,
can't get into it.
I don't know which one I like better, the first or the second one. They're both amazing in their own way. Like I love the second one just as much as I love the first one. You know, some people will say they don't like the second one. I can't say why, but you know, I love it. You know, to me, it's just as good as the first one. And
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna cut my mic off. Noah's calling. I'm gonna talk to him.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Sure.
But yeah, my brother's favorite movie of all time is actually the first Back to the Future. So, like it was always constantly playing in my house. But this scene right here, where they're going up I don't know if any of you have ever played the original NES Nintendo game of Ghostbusters. Um,
My
it's
brother may have.
Well, in my opinion, it's one of the worst video games of all time. Um, but and they don't. I mean, there's no like brief like scene in that game when they're going up the staircase. No, it's literally like you have to. You know how they have to go up like I think it's like 50 some flights of stairs in the movie, but you don't see them actually going up all the flights of stairs.
Mhm.
But in the game, you have to go up all those flights of stairs to get to the top of the building, and along the way, you're like fighting against all these different ghosts that are up the staircase. and you only have like a certain amount of time to do it. And if you don't do it in time, you have to start over from the very beginning of the game, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I don't ever remember playing it, Chris, but like I said, my brother may have because he was the bigger gamer in our family, and this has nothing to do with Ghostbusters. But when you were talking about going up all those flights of stairs in the
Yeah,
game, it reminded me when those Leisure Suit Larry games came out. Now these are not kids games by any
yeah, I
means,
know what those games are, Dana.
but my my cousin Clayton was playing that one time on the computer, and he was a little bit older, so it was kind of okay that he was playing it, but his much younger sister wanted to play it. She didn't understand what kind of game it was, and Clayton didn't really want her to play it because we all know why he didn't want her to play it. So she kept bothering him, kept bothering him, kept bothering him. And he was at the part where he was supposed to get Leisure Suit Larry up the steps to where the prostitute was. And so he refused to tell his younger sister how to get up there. And she was like, I can't get upstairs. And I just remember them telling
I just love whenever Dana's get like and Lewis, they're getting turned back into those terror dogs and
me, okay, so she's a dog.
But I will say that when the Sega Genesis came out, they did release another Ghostbusters game for that, and it was a lot better than the Nintendo game.
I don't think my brother ever played Sega. He played all the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, and then after that, I think he switched to PlayStations, and he stayed with PlayStation from then on out.
now are you
Yeah,
at where the school has come down or Gozer has come down?
yeah, she's
Yeah.
she's walking down
Yeah,
the steps right now.
She's walking down the steps. Oh, she's not petted
she
the dogs yet.
had,
But she's getting ready. Yeah, she just did pet one of the terror dogs.
I got it at where he says, "Go get her, Ray."
yeah, he just said that. Go get her right. Ray's looking at him like, "Are you crazy?"
I love how bright this. I always loved how bright it looked. Like it was like blinding, and it gave off her like otherworldly like figure. I don't know, just the way that they had all that set up. It looked like something beyond to me. I don't know.
And
Yeah.
I have a memory. I know Candace remembers this, but the actress that plays Gozer was at a horror hound convention
Yeah.
years ago. It was the first ever horror hound that we took CJ with us to, and it was after one of the days we were there. At the end of the day, you know, the convention had already closed down, and their kind of after party stuff was starting. And CJ went outside in front of the hotel to smoke, and she was out there with him, just
Yeah.
like they were just talking like casual. And I was like, "Man, you know who that was?" And he didn't realize that that's who that was. And he was just talking to some random. He thought some random older lady was just coming up and hitting on him.
He said, he said
And I was like,
I
"That
just
was
talked to
Gozer."
Gozer. Because he loved it just as much as I did. You know, he grew up with me watching Ghostbusters, so it was a go-to movie for us all the
Yeah.
time. I mean, we literally watched it at least twice a week.
Me
I
and
mean,
my brother
maybe
watched
even
it a
more.
lot. They're going up there they think they're gonna fight Gozer.
Yeah, when I had COVID, when I went to work, I sounded exactly just like Gozer.
Oh goodness.
I
I
know
was like,
Gozer is a badass.
Oh yeah.
We should have brought her up.
Well, there's still time. We can have another show and we can talk about her.
Now, my brother was obsessed with Howard the Duck.
I love Howard the Duck. I still love Howard the Duck. In fact,
I do.
when I met Leah Thompson years ago at Scarefest, everybody and their mother was bringing up, Back to the Future stuff
Yeah.
on the side. And what do? I bring up a Howard the Duck poster.
We talked to her about Howard the Duck. She was
Yeah,
so
I
incredible.
got an autograph from her from it too, because I didn't actually bring any kind of item for her to sign. So I just chose an 8x10 photo off of the table, and I chose her character from Howard the Duck. Because as much as I love the Back to the Future films, as far as like her roles in particular, her role from Howard the Duck's the best to me.
I think that's why my brother watched it all the time. If you catch my drift.
Yeah, duck titties. Which is so bizarre looking back on it, because
Yeah,
that was another movie that was targeted towards kids, and
It was just something normal for us. We didn't pay it no attention. The parents not one time looked at that film and was like, you can't watch that.
now my dad thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. I said that me and my dad and brother, we watch John movies all the time. So,
There's like the scene in Howard the Duck that Leah Thompson is going through Howard's wallet and she finds the duck condom.
The choice is made, yeah.
Yeah, and Ray did it. Poor Ray.
Yeah, Russell, I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I was obsessed with Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Beetlejuice and E.T. when I was as long as I could remember, very early on. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time, still to this day. I love Bob Hoskins. He said it just popped in there.
Yeah, I couldn't help it. It just popped in there. This is great, though. Out of all the things that they could have had to be the destroyer, the Steak Marshmallow Man is fantastic.
It's a staple Marshmallow Man. I love how he says it too. Like whenever he just tells them what it is. Dan Aykroyd to me is one of the greatest actors of all time. He possibly is my second. My favorite actor is Michael Keaton. He's possibly my second favorite actor of all. I love Dan Aykroyd. I think he is amazing. I just love him. And I've caught an ad right at the good part.
And I think Ray says this too, that Mr. Stay Puft, he's jolly and friendly, and there's nothing to be afraid of with him. Yeah, I tried to think of a harmless thing, something from my childhood. Nice thinking, right? Ray is gone bye-bye, gone.
Has it showed him like stepping on the church yet? And
he just said Mother Puss Bucket.
Okay. Let me know when they start
he
shooting.
stepped on the church. He was
Okay.
like, nobody steps on the church in my town.
I mean, how about that? What an awesome death. I mean, just what an awesome death scene. If you have to pick out something like that from a movie, I just think it's I mean, this is genius filmmaking here to me, and writing and acting and filmmaking. Just it's to me a perfect film.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people may not agree, but that is just in my eyes, it's a perfect film.
Well,
There's nothing I don't like about it.
everything was in alignment
Yeah,
in this
definitely.
film. Everything fit. We had the perfect actors. We had, you know, perfect atmosphere. It was
Yeah.
just it all fell into place. That doesn't
Yeah.
happen very often.
There's not an actor that's out of place. There's not a scene that's out of place. To me, it is just it's perfect. This is my true love of like film. This is the stuff that I really love, and my style of things that I love because this to me is just is one of my favorites. Like I said, so I could watch it. Watching it. I just watched this last night, and I watched it a couple days ago, and probably a couple days before because Henley he watches it every day. So
Yeah.
every day that he's been here, it's been on TV, and I never stop getting goosebumps. I never stop feeling the way that I did as a kid. I never get tired of it, and that is when you can tell that you found something that you really, really love. So, plus it's a killer death because everybody gets covered in marshmallow. So,
It'd be tasty. You'd have roasted marshmallows all over.
Sorry, I zoned out for a second. I always like hyper focus on that scene
I
because I
love
love
the marshmallow just coming
It
down.
falls on William Atherton.
He just like looking up. Is like, what is?
God, right. That's
He
insane.
deserved all of that. He
Yeah.
deserved all of that. These
Was he,
roasted terror dogs always just
Oh yeah.
killed me. I loved it. They're breaking out
it's
of
the Walter Peck character actually returns in the new film Frozen Empire, and
Cool.
I was really glad to see him come back. I wish Rick Moranis could have had some part in
yeah.
the newer films,
I would love it.
Which, Sigourney Weaver's character was in like the after credits scene in Afterlife, but she doesn't have a part in the new film Frozen Empire either, which is, I don't know. I mean, maybe, I guess it's up to them ultimately, the actors and actresses that they want to do it, but just like, yeah, I just feel when you have a franchise that has such a legacy like Ghostbusters does, I mean, just, just take a step back from
Right.
and just
There's a
think,
barbecue
hey,
dog
I
here.
could be a part of this.
Barbecue dog hair. And of course they think Dana's dead at this point.
Mhm. But then you see his hand breaking it through, just all nasty charcoal dog. Peter must got some in his mouth. He's like spitting it, like
Yeah.
he's got hairs in his mouth or something. Ash.
Now, let me ask you guys this. How did Peter look out with getting the least amount of marshmallow on him out of all the Ghostbusters?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
but Lewis has got this big head.
Like,
He's like moving around, kind of like the helmet in Spaceballs.
but look at Winston, Egon, and Ray. They're covered in this marshmallow fluff, and Peter has barely any on him at all.
Because he's got to have this lovely scene with Sigourney Weaver, where they're embracing and he can't be covered in all that gooey marshmallow like that.
This is like the who does your taxes?
He's like, who are you guys? Oh,
Dan Aykroyd just takes over any kind of movie that he's in, I think. And I think that's why he's my favorite Ghostbuster. He's just unique to me. And I just love Ernie Hudson's. He said, I love this town. And
yeah,
that's the perfect ending to that building scene to me.
yeah.
I just
And then we
because
get we get this. It goes into
Hmm.
this, which is fantastic.
Great film. I love it. I love it.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, they really, really went all out with this film, writing it and stuff. And it's just, I absolutely, I can tell, there's like with the other films, even the second one, but I love the second one. I see no fault in it, and it's very dear and close to me. But I can see why some people can find fault in all the other films that came after this, the remakes or the just the resurgence of the other ones.
I have to ask everybody in here that wants to answer this and people in the chat, but I always had a special affinity for movies that when they did the end credit sequence, a lot of the big names in it, like when they showed Dan Aykroyd's name, they had Dan Aykroyd
Yeah,
on the screen smoking the cigarette.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
I just enjoy that. That's just a little added bonus to the
Yeah, and
movie.
that was classic 80s films.
Yeah, it
Classic
definitely
80s.
was.
I love that. That's why I love 80s films so much.
You see the back and they're in the end credit scene where it shows like the people in the background. They're like waving around the Ghostbusters shirts. Like, where did they get those at?
Yeah, where did they get
When did they get time to create Ghostbusters? Or unless it was just a fan made thing, but they were kind of new though too. Like, nobody really didn't know who they were unless they saw that commercial for them or whatever on TV. But like, see, that's what I'm talking about, the shirts. Like, but I mean, I
And
guess you have to look at it from like, or that's kind of like a hint that there's going to be like merchandise from the movie and stuff. But like,
then the second one come along and everybody forgot that they saved New York. You
Yeah,
know, they're
exactly.
they're they're doing
yeah,
parties,
because
parties.
yeah, because
Kids don't even know.
Ray and Winston are doing like birthday parties and stuff. Yeah,
And then Slimer just comes up, and that's
Yeah,
just the perfect ending.
that's a bonus too. You get
It's the
slime
bonus,
in
yeah.
there.
But I don't think any other ghost or apparition or creepy crawly, whatever, will ever come close to Slimer. And I can understand the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but Slimer, he's a ghost, like a
Mhm.
true green. I was going to say true blue, but ghost. But he's a ghost that you're not afraid of.
Yeah,
Like you want to
exactly.
see him, and that's what I really loved about Ghostbusters is that the ghosts were they were creepy, but they were to me as that of something like a Muppet or something. I mean, I loved the style of the ghosts and the apparitions and stuff in this film. I thought they
Right.
were unique. It wasn't some like, straight up just ghost boy or something like that. You know what I mean? They
Mm,
looked a certain way that you didn't really see in other kinds of films about ghosts.
right. Yeah, I mean, this Ghostbusters always had a unique look, a unique take, all of that on the whole paranormal entity. It wasn't a horror movie,
Yeah.
although it might have had some things that made you jump.
Yeah.
Um, and it mixed that eerie ethereal quality of other paranormal movies, but then you had that comedy element.
Yeah.
I think that that's what made it really, really special, and why we're still here talking about it 40 years later.
Yeah.
We're still talking about Ghostbusters.
And why kids of every generation, therefore after, were obsessed with it and still are being obsessed with it. I don't see it ending anytime soon. You know, um, because with every generation of boys in our family, well, Chris said his nephew wasn't really into Ghostbusters. He didn't hate Ghostbusters or anything, but with starting with our son and my oldest nephew and my youngest nephew, they all were equally just like obsessed. I'm talking about obsessed, and still are obsessed with it to this day. So I mean, just like how me and Chris was as a kid, and I'm sure Superman Nerd was, and maybe even you, Dana. I mean, it's something that time doesn't corrode anything of this film. You know,
Mhm.
it still
Right.
shines just like it did back then.
Mhm.
And like Dana said, I mean, it's not a horror film, but it definitely has a lot of horror elements to it. But I think and where this was targeted towards kids in the '80s, and and even kids in the '90s that were growing up and were seeing Ghostbusters for the first time in the '90s. This was Ghostbusters was kind of used like it and Beetlejuice and a couple other things were used as like a gateway to
Uh-huh.
being a fan of horror.
Mhm.
This was, and I think if you're ever going to introduce kids into horror, that's the best way to do it. Is
Yeah.
kind of throw them something like Ghostbusters or
Mhm.
Beetlejuice or Gremlins or even Poltergeist. Poltergeist is scary, but it also has a kid friendly feel to it. If you kind of get what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Um, but stuff like that can really like prepare you for what the more extremities in horror films. Because like in Ghostbusters, like I said, there is horror elements, but there's zero blood throughout the whole film. Um, so there's really no kind of gore and I feel like that's like Ghostbusters joke on like the gore thing with the marshmallow like landing everywhere over New York City is like it's like that's their blood for Ghostbusters is marshmallow.
Right, right. Now, guys and gals, I can stay on here for a few more minutes. Maybe I can stay on here till about 9:30ish if everybody else can stay on here with me.
Yeah, sure.
But unfortunately, Dana's got to take a bathroom break because I was drinking an energy drink during this. Um, so I'm going to take myself out of the stream temporarily, but y'all go ahead and carry on, and I'll be back in just a sec.
Chris, I'm going to take myself out for a second because I have to take care of something, but I'll be right back on too, okay?
Okay, all right, cool. Um, all right, Batman nerd. Well, so what is your favorite film out of all the Ghostbusters? Would it be this one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think this one's
I'm the
the best.
same way too, man. I think it's pretty much a given. Like, I mean, because I enjoy all the Ghostbusters films. I even like the 2016 Ghostbusters to an extent. I mean, I'm not huge on it. It's my least favorite out of all of them. If I had to choose a least favorite, but I mean, it's just the original is just a classic.
Yeah, I think that's the only one I dislike.
I mean, if I had to choose one I disliked, it would be that one. But there's parts of it I do like the cameos from like Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray and all of them within the film. But as far as like the actual story, Ghostbusters 2016, nah, it's not something I'm gonna watch over and over and over.
Yeah, I barely seen the newest one, Frozen Empire.
Yeah, we went to the theaters and it was okay. I liked Afterlife a lot better. Did you say you seen Frozen Empire or not?
Um, I think I seen like the first half hour, but then I fell asleep because I watched it when I got home from work and stuff. I just
Yeah,
put it on, and next, I was conked out.
when we went to the theaters, and it was me and Candace and her brother, her mom, my son, and our two nephews. And I think her mom actually fell asleep in the theater when we were watching Frozen Empire. Um, like, like I said, I thought it was okay, but I liked Afterlife a lot better, even though some people do have complaints about Afterlife because it's too close to the original film. But, I mean, I don't know. I had fun with it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good and a little sad at the end.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I thought they paid, which I know Uncle Bill and CK like to shit all over that ending of Afterlife and saying that they, kind of like just is an insult to Harold Ramis's character and everything. But I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good tribute.
Let's face it, Chris. No offense to CK and Uncle Bill, but they like to shit on almost everything.
Well, that is true. So,
They're not the only ones. Tony Peluso from Hack the Movies, that he hated Afterlife, and he was like, "It's supposed to be a comedy, not a damn drama." I was like, "Who cares, man?"
there's comedy to it as well. I mean, it's kind of like there's a mixed bag with the original if you want to look at it like that. It's not all comedy and action. I mean, there's drama to it as well. But I mean, I don't know. I think people overanalyze it too much.
He explained how the first one was supposed to be like super adult because their protons is supposed to be like a penis.
I guess.
I guess they could make a phallic symbol out of anything, basically.
Well, they
with the fireball at the end. I was like, yeah, the fireball looks like a little phallic.
Yeah, it's like it's like that original VHS cover or poster of the Little Mermaid. They say that like it's supposed to the castles or whatever in the background on there is supposed to like resemble something phallic, and I don't know. I mean, that's a whole other thing to get into, like all these like innuendos and subliminal messages from Disney. Like there is like another thing like within the Lion King. There's like these clouds up in the sky, and they're supposed to spell out sex. There's like a whole plethora of that kind of stuff out there on the internet to look into, but it's all kind of like just fan theory based, really. There's nothing confirmed about that stuff.
Just like Aladdin, he tells the teenagers to take their clothes off when he's talking to Jasmine and stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting rabbit hole to go down. That's something I think a lot of people don't realize about me is I'm a huge fan of like classic Disney stuff, like I get. You can ask Candace. I get hardcore into some of it. Like the original Pinocchio is my favorite Disney movie of all time, and also I'm a big fan of Peter Pan as well. Like that was one of the ones I watched a lot. Like, you ever have one of those tapes like when you're a kid that you put in and you watch the movie, and then like once it's done, you take it out or you rewind it and you just watch it again?
Oh yeah.
Like, Peter Pan was one of those for me. Another was Big Top Pee Wee. I watched Big Top Pee Wee so much I've poured my tape up of it.
Blitzel says Beauty and the Beast is her favorite.
That's Candace's. It's one of my top favorites too. I know eventually at some point I've not decided what I want, but I do think I do eventually want to get a Disney character tattoo.
Cool.
My favorite Disney movie, like I said, is Pinocchio, but my favorite Disney character is actually Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. I just thought it's cool because he's an alien, and like they were kind of finally Disney was starting to bring in kind of like sci-fi horror elements and stuff in their films, and in Disney World. I mean, I don't care if you're not a Disney fan. If you go to Disney World, you will have one of the best times of your life. So that place is amazing.
Well, I don't think I'll ever get Steve to go to Disney World. However, we do want to go to Universal Studios.
Yeah, we would like to, and then they're about the same cost nowadays, and that's the thing. Me and Cass, we would want to go back to Disney. We want to go to Cass has never been to Universal Studios, but I went years ago when I was 16 years old. But it's just that stuff is so expensive now.
Right.
It's I don't know. So I don't know if unless something happens and we come into a large sum of money and are able to go again. It doesn't look likely in the foreseen future.
Maybe me and Candace will just go into overdrive and be selling stuff left and right, and we'll make a bunch of money so we can go on a great vacation.
That'd be awesome. Go on a Disney cruise.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'd get Steve. He doesn't want to. I don't know if he's scared of cruise ships or scared to be out in the middle of the ocean or what the deal is. But
I would like to. I don't know. I think Candace is kind of the same way. I don't think she would. I don't know if she's much on doing the cruises. I would love to experience it though, just to kind of see what it's like. And then same thing with flying. I've never flown in an airplane before. And
I've flown once, and I was scared to death, Chris. I was scared to death. But it's the year me and Steve went to Austin, Texas when we were dating. And once I got on the plane and the plane took off and we were up in the sky, I was fine. I was just nervous beforehand. After we got up in the air, I looked and I could see the sky and I could see the clouds and all that stuff. And it was just the most amazing thing to.
Sorry, guys. I had to
Okay.
take care of something. My mom had called me and I had to take care of something for my brother. So I hated to get off of here for a minute, but
I've never flown in an airplane though. But my mom and dad have when they went to Vegas one year. But I've always wondered. I think Candace actually refuses to get on an airplane.
I don't know. I'm awful scared of something like that. I'm afraid that I will get up in there and panic.
Well, I was telling Chris that I was scared too the first time I rode a plane, but I guess once you get up in the air, it's almost like riding in a car from there on out. And just pray that there's not a malfunction with the plane. Now, I did have one fear when I was on the plane because, of course, this was after 9/11. And I was suspicious of people that looked suspicious to me. And, I wasn't trying to do any kind of racial profiling or anything, but there was one guy who made me nervous because he had shifty eyes and stuff. And I kept my eye on him the whole time. He was making me nervous. I was like,
was it like the? What do you mean by shifty eyes? Like the eyes on the painting in the haunted house episode of the Andy Griffith Show?
Yeah, he looked like he was up to no good. It was just he looked very guilty, and maybe that was my paranoia.
Yeah, but from everything that I've read, though, like I said, I've never flown on a plane, but everything that I've ever read said that there are more safety precautions now than ever, because of 9/11. So, I mean, and I've even heard people compare, saying that it's safer to travel in an airplane nowadays than it is to travel on the highway.
Yeah. Stephen King always had a quote. I don't think he rides in planes very often. I think it's been very rare in his career. He took a motorcycle cross country when he was doing book signings and stuff. But he always had this quote where he said, "When you're up in the sky, there is no breakdown lane."
Yeah.
So, and I always think of that.
That would be something probably hammered in my head whenever I be up in
Yeah.
I want to try to convince him one of these days.
That man, what was that, hon? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said I'm gonna head on out, and you guys have a
Oh,
good rest of
okay.
the
Well,
stream.
thank you for joining
Awesome.
We'll
us.
see ya.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you being here.
All right, thanks.
Uh-huh.
See you.
Yeah, I've had
So,
a good time doing this, Dana.
I did too, and I'm glad that you and Chris and Batman joined me for it. And I think we, for the most part, we had a pretty good crowd. I think it may have
Yeah,
went up and down a little bit, but it is, excuse me, the Sunday before Memorial Day, so
yeah.
people may be planning, barbecues and all kinds of different things for tomorrow.
If this weather goes away.
Yeah, that's what I was wanting to do tomorrow because I got that new grill last year for Father's Day, I believe it was, and um, I haven't got to use it since last summer, so I've been getting that itch. And
Yeah,
I was hoping to be able to use it tomorrow if the weather's not bad.
I thought Steve was going to grill out for us, but I think he finked out on me on grilling out. So I guess we're not going to do that this time.
Chris's mom was actually in the midst of going outside to fire up the grill. She'd already started making like her potato salad and stuff, and she said that big wind and rain and just hit them, right after it did us. But
Right.
my mom and them are still without electric.
Bless her
Still without
heart.
it. I mean,
She already come down to our house.
well, she may have to, her, and my brother and them, but hit literally stopped just right up the road from us with the electric ordeal. So we got really lucky
Mm-hmm.
to still have electric. Because it scares me whenever her electric goes out because for some reason, because she lives around town, for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, whenever stuff goes out down there, it takes it a long time to come back on. I'm
Yeah.
talking. I remember one time. Remember that, Chris, when we used to live down there, and it was out for days, like a week. The electric. Remember that?
I
We were going
do,
crazy.
yes. I do remember there was a time where it was no joke, Hanson not exaggerating. Like it was the electric was out for like almost an entire week.
Dana, we were literally camping out in the car so we could have electric
Oh,
to
no.
like play, watch movies, but
Yeah.
couldn't even like do anything because we were just going insane. I was like, we gotta live in a car or something.
I
But
remember the ice storm. Everybody remembers that ice storm that was affected. If you were affected, you remember that ice storm. And I was still living with mom and dad at the time. And that was right in the beginnings of my initial like dead pit days
yeah,
of listening to them on a regular basis. I was about to lose my mind because we were without power for 2 weeks,
oh
two
my
whole weeks
gosh,
after that ice storm. And I remember I knew Steve at the time, and that was the time that Steve hooked up like a light and his laptop maybe to his car battery.
oh
He
my
had
god,
it hooked up somehow where he could at least have a light
yeah,
and he could have his laptop so he could do a few things. But we couldn't do anything. But my granny, because one, she lived in town, and two, she was older. So thankfully, they try to make sure that the older people or people that have medical conditions get their power restored as soon
yeah,
as possible. And so she got her electric back fairly quickly. So we were going to my granny's house to take showers and baths
yeah.
and to charge our devices and stuff like that. But it was just miserable. Two straight weeks of that.
That's so crazy because I think it was like a week that we had to go through, and just that week seemed literally like 2 months.
Mhm.
It seemed like it was forever. I bet you would probably just like, what am I missing? What am I missing? Especially if you was just getting into dead pit and stuff.
Yeah, I would try to listen to, stuff when I could, or watch their videos, on YouTube and stuff like that. Or I would catch up because even though me and Steve weren't romantically linked at that time, we were friends.
Yeah.
And I would, talk to Steve when I could get on my devices, and I would talk to Darren. I didn't know Dirk back then, but I would talk to my Canadian friends. I talked to J Dog and Anthony and all those people. Chris, I know, remembers all those guys.
Oh, absolutely. I was because J Dog and Anthony did a show called Canadian Fair Rocks,
They
Yeah.
did.
and I
We
still
still
have
have
my
my
shirt.
shirt.
I still
Yeah.
have my shirt from them. Yeah,
I don't
and
think they were together when me and Chris got together at the time.
I
Mhm.
I really miss those guys doing that show because they always had this segment on their shows called VHS Vault,
Yeah,
where they would like cover like just different like VHS movies on VHS and stuff, and yeah, I miss a lot of those guys. I don't hear from a lot of those guys anymore.
I haven't heard. I'm still friends with J Dog. His real
Yeah,
name
me
is
too.
Jason. Um, it, I'm still friends with him on Facebook, and occasionally I see where he posts and stuff.
I haven't seen him post in a long, long time.
It's very sporadic when he posts, but I really miss talking to him. Me and him, we didn't have any romantic link either. We were just friends, and I remember us spending hours talking online. And I miss those days of talking to uh, everybody, and a lot of those people I don't hear from anymore. So that's why, I'm thankful for the friends that I still can communicate with. Candace, Chris, um, they are my friends from way back. I consider that my beginning friends, and
Mhm.
we're still friends, and I think we're going to be friends forever.
Yeah.
To quote a Chucky thing or something. I don't know, that might be kind of eerie, but
I'll be your friend to the end.
yeah, exactly. Um, but Candace, Chris, is there anything that y'all would? I was going to ask Batman, but he had to bow out. Is there anything y'all want to bring up or promote or anything like that? Share?
Well, I just wanted to show something real quick because I was looking over here in our bedroom at because Candace has these pin boards hanging on the wall, and I mean, since we watched Ghostbusters, I guess I would show off one of my favorite keychains that Candace has, and she got this from Temu of all places. So, and it's really made really well, very high quality in my opinion, and it's this Ghostbusters keychain, but
Oh,
it's
yeah, I like
it's
that.
a it's a crossover between Ghostbusters and the Studio Ghibli film called Spirited Away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're big fans
I don't
of.
know if you're super familiar with those or not, but that character's name is he's one of the spirits from the film, and his name is No Face.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we
Me and
love
Candace love that
yeah,
movie. It's
and the Studio
one of the
Ghibli movies in general. Me, Noah, and Chris, we love them.
yeah. I mean, if you go and look at IMDb's top 250 movies of all time, Spirited Away is
Mhm.
it was in the top 10, but it's at least in the top 20 now. It was the first ever animated film to win an Academy Award.
It's a beautiful film. If you've never seen it, I highly
Yeah.
suggest.
I
I
know
didn't know
of
anything
it.
about it until we started dating, and then I fell in love with all those Studio Ghibli films.
I
Yeah.
know of it. I need to try to seek those out though, and I actually
Beautiful,
watch them.
And
beautiful.
and it's one of those things where like you try to introduce it to someone and they're like, oh, I'm not really into that anime stuff. This is Japanese animation,
Yeah.
but it is not. It feels like a real movie. It's
Oh, it's
not like
amazing.
it's not like these anime like TV shows and films where like it's above and beyond and like it's like kind of like unrealistic. The stuff in these Studio Ghibli films feels realistic
They're
at
so cute
times,
too.
and they use a lot of big name
Mhm.
like Hollywood actors to do the English dubs of those films.
One of my
Like,
favorite is called Kiki's Delivery Service. It's about a
yeah,
little witch who's just learning to fly,
Uh-huh.
and she's got a black cat, and I just love it. I think it's a nice little film. But
yeah, and
go
go
ahead,
ahead, Ken.
go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to say my favorite Studio Ghibli film is a movie called Howl's Moving Castle,
Oh, that was a great one
and
too. My
and the
name is
main
Totoro.
character, yeah, the main character Hal in Howl's Moving Castle is the in the English dub he is voiced by Christian Bale,
Mm-hmm,
and there's all like I said, Danny DeVito has done voices, Kathy Bates, a
mm-hmm.
ton of big name actors that have
Jonathan, I
done
think.
voices for the English dubs.
Mm-hmm. But I was
Well,
also wanting Dana, if it's all right, to
mhm,
um, we have our Death by Stereo podcast show that we do.
mhm.
That we do two shows right now. It's the TerraVision and the Video Dead. Now we were planning on because we got the TerraVision one done this week, and we were planning on doing the Video Dead one, having it released by today. But weather has not permitted, and
Right.
it has been really bad. So again, we're going to be late on that. So hopefully have it out within the
Uh,
next few days, if weather permits. Chris is off tomorrow, so hopefully we can record that one tomorrow and maybe have it out by tomorrow night. I'm not going to make any promises because it's been falling through.
yeah,
We'll be on regular schedule next week because I don't think it's supposed to come any kind of bad weather or anything like
Okay,
that.
we'll
But
keep our fingers crossed. Weather's
so
been crazy.
I'm just glad that we have electric. Everything seems to be streaming fine. I don't think me and Chris has been freezing up or anything
No,
like that. So
no, haven't
we've
no.
been doing good.
I did want to bring up, since I have both of you on here right now, that I was just looking at my schedule for not this coming weekend, but the weekend following. I will be doing another couple of watch alongs, and that Saturday's watch along will be for Gremlins.
Ooh, Chris,
So that
there you
one
go.
is coming up. I see Chris's. So
I tell
I'm sure she'll want to join in for that, and I'm betting if Candace can, I bet she'll
Yeah,
want to be on there
because
for
that was one of my favorites as a kid too. Now my favorite is the second one,
that. Hmm.
Gremlins 2. I absolutely love Gremlins
I
2, but
love,
I
I
love the
love
first
Gremlins too, but it's just the first one. I don't know. It just holds that special. There's something about it that holds that specialness to me. Do you guys remember? I know Candace does, but and I'm sure you do too, Dana. But I just want to bring them up. The it was like the little storybooks that came with records, but they also re-released them where they came with cassette tapes.
Hmm.
So yeah, I had my brother actually had the Gremlins book, and instead of it come with the record, it came with the cassette tape,
Hmm.
and that's something I have fond memories of, and that is sitting and reading that book while the tape would play, and um, that's one of the biggest reasons why it's my favorite movie. Is just
it's one of
because,
my memories too. But I had the record. I
yeah,
had the record, and I remember going because the front of it had him with Gizmo, I think, on his back.
yeah,
They had
Billy and
showed it.
Gizmo, yeah.
Yeah, I wish I
I
still had that.
remember, and I've talked about this before, but I had those color form things,
Yeah,
and I had one for Gremlins, and
yeah,
one for ET, I believe.
yeah. I
And I'll
love
bring
color
some
form.
if when you do that watch along, Dana, for Gremlins, I'll bring out some stuff like that. Like I got the color form set. I got like a multitude of plushes of Gizmo and the Gremlins and different Mogwais, and I've got a lot of. Candace can attest to this. I
Oh
have a lot of.
yeah. Now I see Blissful mention a movie that I never see anybody ever mention, and I don't even think Chris has ever seen it. It's Howie Mandel and Walk Like a Man. Remember that movie, Chris? I keep on asking if you've ever seen. It's where he
Yeah,
is
but
a baby,
I've
gets
never seen
lost,
it.
is
I
raised by
know.
wolves, and I love that movie. I remember renting that a long time ago, and I loved it. Have you ever seen it, Dana?
That is another one that I know the title, but I haven't seen it.
As a baby, he's like dropped off the back of they're like in Alaska or somewhere like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, but he like falls off or something like that, and he's lost in the snow, and I think he's like raised by wolves. And they get him. He's like the heir to some big fortune and bring him back. It's been so long since I've watched it, but I think that's how I'm telling it right. And they
Mhm.
have to kind of make him not act like a dog. So, it's a good movie. I like Howie
And,
Mandel.
and
I think
speaking
he's
of
good.
Howie Mandel, anybody that knows anything about him knows that he's a big germaphobe. Um, so it was to my surprise when I seen a couple of days ago on Facebook, he's starting to do conventions now.
Wow.
Mm.
And because he was announced for something called Spookala or something. It's a horror convention down in Orlando. So I never really thought I would ever get to have a chance to meet Howie Mandel, just knowing how he is, being a germaphobe. And I always told that to Cass, I said, I don't think he'll ever do conventions because I don't think he'd want to meet a bunch of fans and stuff. Um, but well, I just kind of, this is a little sliver of hope, I guess.
Hmm. Well, I just wanted to bring up the other movie in case Uncle Bill watches this because the last time I did a watch along for the initiation, it was because Uncle Bill wanted me to do it. And I had it on my list further down, but because Uncle Bill brought it up, I thought, well, I'll bump it up. However, Uncle Bill didn't get to join us that night for that. And I thought, well, this would be a good opportunity to bring this one back out of the bag. So, Initiation is a slasher film. Uh,
Hmm.
it's not one that's really talked about a lot. I think Chris would probably agree with me on that one. A lot of people don't talk about the Initiation.
It's not, and another one they don't really talk about, which it's similar to the title. There's one called the Initiation of Sarah, and it was a
Right.
TV movie. Um, and I can't remember who made that one. Do you remember who did Initiation of Sarah, Diana?
Not off the top of my head, I can't.
But that's just another one. Like I feel like that one's underrated and not talked about enough too. But yeah, the Initiation though is really really well made to me
Yeah.
at least. And yeah, I don't hear hardly anyone ever talking about it.
And that's what Uncle Bill said. He said, you should do a watch along for the Initiation. Nobody ever talks about that movie. So here's another opportunity. Uncle Bill or anybody else would want to join me for that one. Maybe Chris might want to join me as well.
Yeah,
Candace, you're welcome to if you'd like to.
Okay.
Um, and anybody else, that's in the chat that's like, hey, I like that movie. I might like to join in.
yeah, and like another movie like that because it was I only seen it one time though, but I seen it before you did your Seductive Poison show that one week, which was Bloody Birthday.
Mhm.
And I tell you, and I can't stop talking about that movie. I love Bloody Birthday. I really, really did. And that's just, I don't hear enough people talk about that movie.
No, no, that they don't for whatever reason. It's not a movie that I hear a lot of people talking about, and I don't know if it's because these movies, for some reason or another, slipped under the radar. And I was just like back in the day, I was a VHS hound. I was
Me too.
constantly seeking out the next, you know, big for me horror film find from whatever the video store was that I was frequenting that week.
Yeah. Same with me too, Dana. And I can tell you, I know there's kind of a lot of horror fans on the fence with this company nowadays, but in the early '90s and throughout the '90s, my favorite like films to look for at the video store were full moon movies.
Uh-huh.
And I love because I became obsessed with the Puppet Master movies. So like, and on the videotapes of Puppet Master, they would always have this little featurette on the tape after the movie of like called something like Action Zone or something like that,
Oh
where
yeah.
they would show like the making, how they made the scenes with the puppets and stuff, and just, and I love that they did that on almost every like full moon release back in the day, and that I was always on the hunt looking for films that I did that was new to me, and if they had the full moon logo on there, and there was even movies around that time that I was renting that was associated with full moon, but I didn't know this till later in life because it was like the children's like sister company that Charles Band had created called Moonbeam, which they did the pre-hysteria movies where like the kid had the little dinosaurs that were
Yeah.
alive and all that.
Yeah.
And when I met Charles Band for the first time, and Candace can attest to this, I I don't think I had been that nervous meeting anybody like ever, like for some reason, like, and I actually he at that time, this was the time when he was still signing for free. So I had him sign like all my pre-hysteria VHS tapes,
Yeah.
and yeah, I love this, and I do to this day. I mean, some of the newer stuff like the Evil Bong and
Hmm.
the Ginger Dead Man movies and stuff like that. I'm not really into those. But the old school full moon stuff, I'll always have a deep love for that stuff.
Um, I did want to take an opportunity since we've got 7 people in the chat and I've got Candace and Chris on here. If anybody has any, I mean, t-shirt ideas in general, but who would you like to see on one of these Scooby Doo horror mashups? Right now, I've only got Robert England and Kane Hodder, but I want to expand that to include
I
different
got
people.
one.
Okay, cool.
Vincent Price.
Vincent Price, that'd be a very good one. I'm gonna write these down.
Have you ever watched 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo, Dana?
I want to say yeah, I have, Chris, but I think it's been a while since I have.
So yeah, it was a series or just called the 13 Ghosts of Scooby, and there was a character in it that was like all throughout the of that show was he was almost on every episode. He was heavily inspired by Vincent Price,
Yeah.
and but yeah, it was a really cool show. I don't think Candace really cared for it that much because it was like one of the newer Scooby Doo series,
Right.
and
Yeah.
Candace is pretty diehard when it comes to Scooby Doo. She likes the classic stuff the
Well,
best, which I do.
the
I like that.
90s stuff too. I love like the Zombie
A pup named,
Island.
yeah, and a pup named Scooby Doo. That was a good one too.
Yeah,
Yep.
Pup Name. I love Scooby Doo's my second favorite cartoon of all time. King of the Hill is my first, and then Scooby Doo. It was Scooby Doo, and then I became a really big King of the Hill fan. And I love Alvin the Chipmunks as well. That's probably my
Oh
third
yeah, Alvin is.
favorite. And Care
You know
Bear.
what my favorite cartoon is of all time, and Wes gives me hell for this.
Uh,
Is Doug.
I was gonna say Doug because
I
Yeah,
love Doug. I always loved Doug.
that's my favorite cartoon ever.
I love
I'm
Hey Arnold.
telling you, I think Wes CK. I think he just tries to antagonize
Yeah.
us and get us all worked up because he does me the same way over stuff.
Have
Well,
you
you know what his excuse is. He's always like, he always say, "Well, I never into that shit. I was in high school that time. I was watching cartoons in high school
Yeah,
too."
me too. I still watch
He
cartoons.
was. Let me tell you something. He was probably watching cartoons in high school too,
Oh,
and
he was. He's
he's
full
probably
of it. He said he
watching
wouldn't.
Dana, have you ever thought about Matthew Lillard?
I had not, but
Yeah,
that
I always.
definitely is a good one because of all his different connections.
Yeah. A
Well,
bliss.
because he played Shaggy,
Yeah.
and then there was a
He voiced
I
him as
seen
well.
this mashup one time on, it was one of those like T Fury or something like that, one of those 24-hour like T-shirt companies
Oh yeah.
where they because you know how they do the reveal where they take the mask off of the villain at the end of Scooby Doo
Yeah.
episodes, where it's like it's all the gang, like, and they're like just like huddled around Ghostface, and they like took off the Ghostface, and it's Shaggy underneath the mask.
Now,
Yeah, I thought that would be a good one. Yeah.
Blissful said a pirate. Now, are you wanting me to make a horror mashup like Scooby Doo and a pirate, or you just want me to make you a pirate shirt? I've got a funny feeling that you just want me to make a pirate shirt.
That just gave me a really good idea for you, Dana. So there is a Scooby Doo classic episode where it's like Redbeard the pirate,
Hmm.
and I think he might have a hook for a hand. Well, think about this. It's God, I just had a brain fart. I know what you did last summer, but use like the Redbeard the pirate, just like John.
That would be awesome.
Or you can do Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, I was thinking of Jack
Jack
Sparrow.
Sparrow. Yeah, that'd be funny. Trying to think of other people that you could do though.
I'm gonna do a Dario Argento one at some
That
point.
would be cool. What about Romero?
Yeah, I'd like to do Romero.
That would
What
be real.
about a Scooby Doo version of Chop Top?
That would be hilarious.
Or have him as a guest too. I think that would be cool.
We could have the hitchhiker also.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to think of anybody else.
Oh, there's just so much. Like, and I tell you, you could draw a lot of inspiration from those Toonie Terror figures that I have. Like,
Oh god.
because all of those figures look like they're in that Scooby Doo style of like art, and I think that's why I love those figures so much.
I could do Bruce Campbell. I mean,
Mhm.
that's one I haven't done yet.
It'd be cool to do
You-
like the classic actor, from like the universe, like Boris Karloff or Lon Chaney Jr. or Bela Lugosi would be cool.
Oh yeah.
If you could do something like that, because there's a lot of people loves that Universal Monster stuff.
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
And we were talking about
Roy.
Vincent Price, and this just happened to be sitting in front of me where I'm at. This is this sculpture that Candace made of Vincent Price, where he's got half his face is a skeleton,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and you can even kind of see down here if I get real close. She made like a little nameplate on there too.
That is just awesome. I love
Yeah, it's hard to get it all in there.
Candace is like, Blissful told me today, she said, Dana, she said, you're a graphic designer, you're a graphic artist. And I just don't see it because I do
You
everything
are.
on the,
You are,
on the
Dana.
computer. I can't just make something like Candace made that, or like she's making these dolls now.
Listen, have you ever tried?
I have not. She's gonna get
Okay.
on me and she Chris like she gets on you.
I told Dana that if I could do anything, she could do it too. I've told Chris that too, and he won't try.
I've tried, I just can't do it.
Alfred Hitchcock would be a great one.
Alfred Hitchcock, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm with you on
Definitely.
that one.
Anthony Perkins.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be awesome.
I
That's
could
something-
do all these.
Dana's gonna have just a whole list of just.
That's awesome idea actually, because as huge of a legacy that Psycho has, and it's one of the probably the most popular horror films of all time. You do not see any merchandise hardly of it anywhere.
Mhm.
Like
When
you
the show
see,
came out, when that Bates Motel come out, you started seeing a little influx of like Bates,
Just a little.
like the sign.
but
that said
have you ever seen an action figure of Norman Bates other than the movie Maniacs one that McFarlane put out years ago. That's the only one I know that was ever made.
But
That-
I am gonna have, Bates Motel breakfast blend, and I'm also gonna have a candle, uh, uh, Norma Bates homemade cinnamon
Well,
rolls,
if
and
you do the Scooby Doo mashup, then you'd have the shirt.
yeah,
And what about Buffalo Bill or Anthony
that
Hopkins?
would be that would be cool.
Yeah, Hannibal Lecter or just Anthony Hopkins. That'd
Yeah,
be a cool one too. But Buffalo Bill is definitely one I think would look cool. You could do anybody. I mean, you could even do like rock stars or like Russell said, like Three Stooges or something like that. You do
yeah.
Angus Young or Bon Scott or something.
I just thought of one Angus Scrim as the
Yeah,
man from Phantasm.
Angus Scrim or there's somebody there that we're. What about Terminator or something like that? I mean, it's just it's endless possibilities of people that you could.
I've already got almost 20 different people on. So they're coming to the site. It'll just take me a little bit of time to get these designs all mocked up.
Dana, she'll have a pumpkin head one and a everybody you can think Chucky. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Speaking
Robert
of
Sully and Mulder,
speaking
the X Files.
speaking of Angus Scrim, I just seen that they should be shipping my Funko Pop of the Tall Man here soon. So, and that's another thing that I thought would never happen is seeing a Funko Pop of the Tall Man.
Right. I mean,
There's no.
and actually, I had a heck of a lot of fun designing the couple that I've done so far. And actually, once I got started, I loved the way that these turned out. I thought that even though these weren't West Vance, these weren't white shirts, I was able to do the sublimation
Yeah,
process
I
on
love
them in
that. Oh,
a
I've not seen that yet, Dana. Unless you
oh,
sent me a picture and I've not looked at it. Did you show that before I come on?
I think I sent well, no, I didn't send you pictures of this one. I sent you
The
pictures of
other one, yeah. But I see that's Robert
let
Englund.
me yeah, this is the Robert England
Oh,
one that I
that's
made for myself.
awesome. Yeah, that looks great on that
I'm
blue.
trying to get where the light's hitting it. But yeah, that's guest starring Robert England. Now I did I think I told Candace this and I might have told Blissful too in a message that because these shirts were not mostly polyester and anybody that's done sublimation knows that the more polyester a shirt has in it, the better the transfer is going to be.
Yeah.
And so the shirt that I was going to send to the person that made an order was unfortunately 100% cotton. That doesn't lend itself very good to great sublimation transfer. So what I did, and I'll just show it everybody this for anybody that's interested. I didn't even know this was a thing, and I saw it on Amazon. But there's something called sublimation spray.
Mhm.
And this is made to make a polyester coating on a shirt or other fabric
Yeah.
that is not mostly polyester.
That's so neat how they figured that out to do that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm really proud of this one. I'm like, this is my shirt. This has got Robert England on it. This is mine. But I'll
I just
make
think that blue makes it look really retro.
yeah,
That
yeah.
color blue. It blends well with that image.
This is
Um,
this is what's called a Carolina blue.
I like
yeah,
that a lot. I mean,
yeah.
you
It's
could look like Abbott Costello or anybody like that. I mean, that looks so cool. Can you put two people on it? Have you ever tried to do that? Or
I could probably do that. I haven't tried yet.
well, you know how they do like the Sonny and Cher, or somebody's got two. Maybe they have that you can somehow
I'll look
kind
and
of
see if
emulate.
I can find the template that's got the Sonny and Cher or
Mm-hmm.
on there. The one I used for this was the Don Knotts one.
I would love to have a shirt of that. I love Don Knotts. You know, be
Uh,
cool to do one with Andy and Barney on it.
well, I write
Dana,
that one down because
Dana's like, hey, listen, for extra $10, I'll do you a design.
no,
You
I'll
should.
keep it. I'll keep it at 20 for as long as I can.
You know, people may even want them of themselves, Dana. That's a good opportunity too.
They
I
might
told
want.
Dana she should do me and her and do a Friday Fool
I'm
shirt
going.
like that.
That's coming. That's coming, and it will be available on the site as long as that's okay with Kate.
Well,
So we
I
do
think
that.
that would be awesome.
I know that is something that Joe does with Fast Custom Shirts. Like, I mean, yeah, he has when he does conventions and stuff, he has like all these horror movie and sci-fi and exploitation films and stuff on his shirts. But I mean, he does a lot of custom work for like different for like anniversaries or reunions or like sports teams and stuff in that area. I know that he does that. So I know that he gets a lot of business from that too, from custom work,
Yeah.
like Kenneth was saying, like, you know, people that might want a shirt with themselves on it or
Yeah.
something,
Right.
or a certain family member or something
Or they
like
might
that. I
want
mean,
their pet on there, or
Yeah.
a kid, you know, or a grandchild, or their son, daughter, you know.
Yeah.
That the possibilities are endless on things of this nature because you know there could be any number of things that people would
Mm-hmm.
want on these.
Oh, definitely.
And I have, like I said, I have a lot of fun designing stuff like this because it
Mm-hmm.
uses a template of something that was already in place.
Yeah.
But then I'm putting my own little spin on it. And, you know, I think it kind of speaks for itself that the first t shirt I sewed on the site was one of these.
Yeah.
So it leads me to believe that those might be the more popular shirts.
Yeah, I love the idea whenever you told me that you was gonna be doing those. I just loved it. I said that I would want something like that. I think that would be really cool. Um and you know, like you said, the possibilities are endless. Like just
Mhm.
who and if you do one of me and you, I'm definitely going to get one off of you because who doesn't want to be a Scooby Doo character? I mean, that's so awesome. Just the thought of that.
Yeah, who wouldn't have wanted to be with Scooby and the gang, you
Yeah,
know? And
you could even do like the killer clown, like a Shorty, or one of them on there. I mean, just anybody that you can think of, you know, horror characters or comedy character. You can do Jim Carrey or somebody. You never
well,
know. People love stuff like that.
Dana, do you remember Scooby's cousin that would come on there sometimes, Scooby Dumb?
Scooby Dumb, yeah, I
I
remember
love
him.
him.
And he was like a big like a white or grayish like
Right.
dog. Yeah, that's what I call Ghost sometimes, is Scooby Doo.
Scooby Dumb.
You shouldn't call him that.
And Scrappy, I always love Scrappy. Let me at him, let me at him.
Yeah, he got on my nerves
Dog.
sometimes though. He would be wanting to duke it out with somebody that he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the Dynamite Hour, Blue Falcon, Dynamite? I
Yeah.
love that too.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
love Hanna-Barbera.
I mean, that's when cartoons were great. I mean, there are some cool cartoons now, but not like they were back
Yeah.
then.
The Flintstones and the Jetsons are two of my favorites of all
The
time.
Hanna-Barbera was great.
My top 5 probably. I just love them. The Flintstones. It's just that was Saturday morning. That was skipping school day. When you skip school, you'd watch The Price is Right, the Joy Painting, and the Flintstones, and Scooby, and the Jetsons. That was the good stuff. And the Snorks. That's the stuff that would come on.
Yeah.
And you would the Smurfs, all that good stuff. Now the Smurfs, that's not Hanna-Barbera, is it, Chris?
Well, yeah, it is. But the thing is, it's just licensed under the Hanna-Barbera like stuff. But I'm trying to think of the guy that actually created the Smurfs.
It's on their feet.
Yeah, it starts with the P, and I think he's from like France or somewhere. the guy that created. But the thing is, they were like all their stuff, like the cartoon and stuff, was distributed through Hanna Barbera though.
Yeah.
A lot like how like you remember the Super Friends with like Batman,
I
Superman.
love them.
So that was Hanna Barbera didn't create that, but it was distributed through like their company they were the Hanna Barbera was the ones that just put that out on the air for them.
Yeah.
So they did that a lot of times, like stuff like that.
But Dana, you could go on. You could make a list of 100 people and still have room for
Oh my
1,000 more.
gosh, yeah. But I thank everybody for giving me some more things to pick from and move forward with. And I would say probably all of these are going to make an appearance on the
Yeah, you
side
could
of
even do the Ghostbusters or Slimer or the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Those would be great, I think. Especially Slimer. Could you imagine that? I mean, that'd be awesome. Having Slimer.
I know one I would like to see is a crossover between Captain Caveman and Pigpen from Peanuts.
yeah.
That's a good one, yeah.
Captain.
Hey, Dana could do it. You give her something and
Well,
she'll
Dana
come
will
up with it.
try.
Oh, something else would be cool, and like, sorry, I keep having like random ideas, but one of my favorite Hanna Barbera cartoons was Wacky Races.
Mm.
Now, just try to imagine this, like the concept of Wacky Races with the cars and everything, but instead the drivers are horror characters like Freddy Krueger and Jason.
Yeah.
That would be really neat.
That'd be neat. It'd be hard though.
Chris,
Yeah.
who did you say with my brain just froze on me? You said Captain Caveman and who?
Pigpen from Peanuts, Charlie Brown and stuff, all
Yeah.
that. Snoopy. Yeah, I used to. I remember. Do you remember the Got Milk like ad campaign and stuff back in the late '90s?
Yeah.
I can remember I had this shirt. I was in 8th grade, and it was like from where the neck is to down to the bottom of the shirt. It was a big picture of Pigpen, but underneath him it said "Got Dirt."
I remember those. I think I had a shirt that was like that, Chris.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved that shirt.
Yeah, I think I had a shirt just like this. It got dirt on it, and he was like dirt flying around him.
Now, Michael Myers, that's another one I could.
Michael Myers and just any Ghostface.
Yeah, the Ghostface killer from Scream. I mean, we could even have Sidney Prescott or anything. We could go the whole Randy. They could get Randy on there.
Well, they're bringing Sidney Prescott back for this next Scream movie. Honestly, as much as I love the original Scream and I love several other of the Scream films, I'm ready for it to be over with at this point.
I think I am too, Chris, to be honest.
Yeah, because they've really done all that they can do now.
Yeah. And I noticed that Blissful said that Reggie would be perfect for putting on the Scooby Doo shirts, and Ghost and Miko they would be perfect.
Ghost, you want to be on there? Huh? You want to be on there?
Ghost says, "I don't know what y'all are talking about."
He's bigger than me almost. Look how tall he is.
He's so
He's a big boy. Ain't you? I'll be Scooby Doo. I'll be Scooby Doo.
He reminds me so much of Reggie, his reactions and stuff like that.
He is a brute, but he thinks he's a little chihuahua. Thinks he's a little Yorkie like Miko, but Miko's the tough one. Ghost isn't.
Reg thinks he's a lap dog. He just does not realize how large he is.
He's Ghost, and he crushes me. Like he crushes Chris, and Chris is a big guy. Chris is 6'3". Ghost crushes him. He's
Reggie just takes that leg and that foot, and you have to watch him. He'll scratch your face or anything, but
oh
he's sitting
yeah,
there.
that's Ghost. He thinks that, and he'll hit you, and he'll scratch your lips and
Yeah.
your face. Oh goodness, but we
And
love him.
Steven's like, "Damn it, Reggie!" He's like, "I love you, but you just clawed me."
Yeah.
Now,
That's funny.
Russell, I had a question. You said Mugsley the dog. Are you talking about Muttley from Wacky Races? Because
Yeah.
he was my favorite. If that's who you're talking about, he was my favorite character. Him and Dick Dastardly were the best part about Wacky Races.
His laugh, I can't do it, but he would always like get that all
That's
like
what I should get. I should get a tattoo of Muttley, like when he's doing the laugh.
yeah. That'd be cute. I always like Penelope Pit Stop. She was my favorite.
There's Penelope Pitstop, Peter
Oh,
Perfect.
the like monsters.
Mm.
Them.
Oh, the shit. I forget what they were called, but they're like their car was like it looked like a haunted house. They would like have bats circling around the top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Candace, I thought of another one like either Michael Keaton or Beetlejuice.
Yes. Well, of course, I should have thought of that one. But yeah, both of those would be awesome.
Oh, that gives me a killer idea. Do have like a scene like of Doug and all the other Dougs from Multiplicity, but instead of all of them, it's like have like one of them be like regular Michael Keaton, one of them being Beetlejuice, one being Batman, and one being like another character, Michael Keaton.
Oh my
That would be
goodness.
really cool.
I'd be willing to try that one.
Like Jack Frost. Have like the third one be Jack Frost.
Just be so man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to look up and see if I can find a template that would have Sonny and Cher that I could take out because then I can put like at least two people in there.
Mhm.
And they met the Harlem Globetrotters at one time. So
Yeah.
did they put a big group of the Harlem Globetrotters on
Maybe.
that?
I
I'm
can look
trying to
and
remember.
see.
That would be a way if I could find that template to put a
Mhm.
bunch of people in it.
Did you ever watch the Harlem Globetrotters cartoon, Dana?
I don't think I ever watched the cartoon, but I do. Weren't they on like Scooby Doo? Didn't they meet the Harlem Globetrotters at
They
least
did.
once?
Yeah. So that was that. I think that was because that was their introduction to cartoons was when they were on Scooby Doo. But then Hanna Barbera put out their own Harlem Globetrotters show where they were superheroes, and they would all the one like the little bald headed one. I think his name was Curly on the team, and he could like transform into different things. Like he would transform like into like a basketball, kind of like the Wonder Twins did on Super Friends.
Uh-huh.
And there was another person on the team where like he could turn into this big giant spring. And there was the one teammate had a big huge afro, and he would just pull like everything out of his afro whenever they needed something.
But this is the Sonny and Cher, Dana. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, cool.
It's
That
just
will it worked
it's the same.
perfectly.
It's the same as what you've got, but they've just put two of them in the same circle. And the Harlem Globetrotter one, it's just got one of them bouncing a ball. So I guess you just use which I guess that makes sense because it's a spotlight from he's got a
flashlight. Yeah.
flashlight, so he would have both of them would have to have flashlights to have
You
two.
know, you know what I could do, and I think I could make this work, is put two in the foreground and two in the background, and you could at least put four people in there.
You could, yeah. You could fit whatever you could fit in that circle. You could fit 10 people in there if you put them small enough.
Oh yeah.
It's according to how you do it. I'm sure you can work it out and make it look good. So
I just had another one, the Tim Curry Pennywise.
yeah.
That
Did we
one's
say
pretty
Chucky?
creepy, and Chucky and let's see.
What about Leatherface?
Leatherface would be good. I was gonna do Gunnar Hansen too, because I've
Yeah.
already got a cartoon picture of Gunnar Hansen.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, Dana. Just what a really good idea to do is to focus in the beginning on the most popular characters that there is. And like you said, Pennywise and like
Beetlejuice
Leatherface
would
and
be
like
good
that,
right
and
now.
Chucky. And if it then like because I think that from just a business standpoint, that's the best thing to do is kind of stick with like the most popular stuff in the beginning, and then once it takes off, you can start like venturing into more obscure like characters and stuff like that.
Like Beetlejuice would be
He says Art the Clown from Terrifier.
Yeah,
That would
like that. Because Terrifier is even though I don't like the Terrifier films, it's really popular right now. It's huge.
and Beetlejuice where the new movie's coming out. That would be big because that's what everybody's talking about right now. Trying to think. What about the Lost Boys?
yeah,
Those
that
would be
would,
cool.
yeah.
Or the Frog Brothers.
The Frog.
That would be great. You could even do like horror type singers like Danzig, like the Misfits, or you know,
The Ramones even.
The Ramones, yeah, I would love the Ramones.
AC/DC or Kiss, or you know, because they did a Kiss one. You could even do like I don't know, like Metallica, or what about Eddie?
That would. If
Eddie
I
and
wasn't
Dustin.
making it, I would buy that shirt.
Yeah.
Well, so is it like that one that Kansas showed the Sonny and Cher where it's like it's the Scooby Doo logo. It's like the Scooby Doo movies logo, and it has like the flashlight. See, I really always love that template when they would use it on the Scooby Doo movies. And I've seen some fan art ones of like that, and I love them. Like they did one of Joe Bob. They did one with Charles Manson.
Joe Bob and Darcy would be.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
And you know I think it'd be really cool to like kind of focus on like doing ones like that but have like TV and movie actors at the time that weren't ever a part of Scooby Doo but were big around that time period, like Fonzie from Happy Days, or like Mort from Ork.
Seems like I've seen somebody did a Fonzie one before, or he was
They
on.
may have, but I'm just saying because Fonzie was never actually on Scooby Doo though.
You could have Lucy and Ricky.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome too.
And Fred and Ethel. I mean, you could.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm writing all this stuff down, guys and gals.
Dana's gonna do it all.
This one said Wednesday 13. He's horror.
When I said that, I seen Dana's like she had her head down, but I seen her eyebrows raised. When I said, she's like, "Well, I don't know about that."
Well, I was thinking if I go by first, I'll do everything. Laverne and Shirley.
Westfall, do you remember Wednesday 13's like country style band, that Bourbon Crow? Do you remember them, Chris?
No.
Crow. I used to play them.
I remember Maynard from Tool's band like that. It was called Pussifer.
No, I don't listen to. I've never listened. Chris is a Tool fan. I'm not a.
Well, I like a lot of Maynard stuff. Tool, Perfect Circle, Pussifer. Yeah, I love it.
Russell said Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. Oh, that'd be one I'd love.
That'd be killer.
And I'll tell you what, my brother would buy faster and make your head swim, Dana, would be a typo negative one. Like with Peter Steele. That'd be cool. Everybody wants this Peter Steele one. I'd buy that one.
Well, I mean, you get down to doing Elvis, Elvis Presley,
Beatles.
Yeah, how come I never met the Beatles?
That'd be cool. They met Davy Jones from the Monkees.
They did.
I'd like to see all the Monkees on there, though.
met Cass Elliot. Cass Elliot
Elliott, yeah.
on the Candy Factory, the haunted
Mhm.
candy.
Now, one of my favorites is Jerry Reed, and he plays one of my favorite songs on a Scooby
Yes.
Doo film. It's called Miss Mary Sunshine. Is it called Miss Mary Sunshine?
Was it Miss Mary Sunshine or Pretty Mary Sunshine?
Might be Pretty Mary Sunshine. I
But I
got
do
the
like
Scooby
that
snacks.
song.
I've got this whenever, like, I think I've already told this, but that's what I was listening to on Chris and my first date. It was a Scooby Snacks CD, and it had all those songs I love, like from David Jones. And I said, if I put this in there and he likes it, then he's a
Mhm.
keeper. And Chris, he was like, oh, Scooby Doo songs. He knew exactly what they were. Like, it wasn't Scooby Doo that was playing. It was like one of them off songs. He knew what it was. It
Mhm.
was it I'm in love with the ostrich, Chris? I'm
Yeah.
in love with an ostrich.
And Chris said, "This is the woman I'm going to marry right here."
Oh, he seen pure gold whenever he got in that car with me. He's like, this is a dream. I'm
Hey,
just kidding, Chris.
Candace, is that your mom that's on here, Dolores, or is that somebody different?
I would doubt it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think. No.
Whoever it is, she's saying she loves the channel. So thank you, Dolores. I appreciate that. I just looked
Um,
at that, and the first person I thought of was Candace's mom.
No, that's how she spells her name.
Mm.
yeah.
I think Candace should message her mom and say, "Hey, mom, I'm here."
I don't. I mean, is it their power and stuff out, Ken?
Yeah, their
I
power's
guess
out.
not. Yeah, that would be cool if Candace's mom did show up in the
She does
chat.
watch. She does watch the show.
Yeah, and
Yeah, she watches the show.
I'm so happy that she gets some enjoyment out of the
Mhm.
streams. Um,
She got excited because the Beetlejuice, the new character, the woman on there, her name is Dolores too, and it's spelled the same way that
oh,
she spells her.
she says it's Raiden and Henley.
Oh, okay. So it was my mom.
Okay.
So okay, they're on my mom's channel, so they are.
Oh, well, that's awesome. I
Well, at
guess
least
it's
we're not talking about
okay
nothing
that you
bad.
like that Raiden and Henley are on there.
My mom's probably sitting there with them, so it is her. It's my mom. Ah,
Well, that pleases me too that her and Raiden and Henley are all, kind of watching along as
mm.
we're doing this stuff.
Oh yeah, they've heard worse if we talk about it.
I don't think we said anything really
No.
outlandish today, anyway.
But yeah, she got
Them kids
excited
don't
because
care.
huh? What do you think, Chris?
I said, them kids don't care if we did.
No, but she got excited because that I think it's Beetlejuice's like fiance or whatever she was.
Well, I know exactly who she is now. I figured it out.
Yeah. Do you know,
Uh,
Dana? Because you've watched the trailer to that
Yeah,
new Beetlejuice, and
right.
she's missing a finger, a ring finger. Somebody pointed that out.
Oh,
So you
okay.
remember Beetlejuice pulls out that finger and tells us, "Says
Yeah.
nothing
it
to
ain't
you."
about the-
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably who it is. Yeah.
It has to be. I mean, it has to be because, like, there's a shot of her in that trailer, and she brings her hand up to her face, and her ring finger is missing.
Uh-huh.
So,
Very
Beetlejuice.
interesting.
No, but we could go on and on about. I mean, you could even do like Harry Potter or something like that. I mean, I don't know if you're a big Harry Potter fan, but I know a lot of people
I
are.
mean, Harry Potter, I never actually got into, but that doesn't mean that they're not a
Yeah,
good series of
yeah.
books, not a good series of films. It's just that I just haven't made it to those things yet. But I
We're
do know
big
that.
Harry Potter fans.
Lord of the Rings is better.
No, it's not. I disagree, but you could do Gizmo.
Yeah.
That would be a good one, Gizmo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I'm gonna write that
heck,
down.
man, we could just sit on here all night just
He
finding out. But I agree with
could
Liz.
even meet Gizmo and Stripe. You could have.
Yeah, you could. But I agree with Blissful. She says that the Peter Steele one would sell
Yeah,
out.
I wrote
I'm,
that one
I'm
down.
you may not listen to Peter's. I don't know if you listen to Typo Negative or not, but I know my brother would buy one. I think me and Chris would buy one and fight over it. So
You'd say we tore the shirt apart because we were fighting
that,
over it daily.
that would be awesome to have a Scooby Doo and Typo Negative mashup. I just think that's awesome. Don't you agree,
Have a
Chris?
good night, Russell. We thank you
Good
for
night.
joining me.
And well, guys and gals, I went over like an hour over what I was planning to, but I've had a good time, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, we
Um,
have to.
but I guess probably should tie it all up because the ideas are flowing now. I want to thank y'all for helping me come up with some new ideas for things. So there will be new things, new designs and stuff coming to the shop here shortly. It's just as soon as I can get the images mocked up. And thank y'all for the support of this particular design. And I'll tell you something about this. Steve always finds some little thing to nitpick about. Didn't say anything bad about this design. He
This
said
is
it was
awesome.
nice, and he didn't say, "Well, the colors are off. There's something," or whatever. But I was shocked. So I thought this must be a really good design if he can't find anything wrong with it.
I do want to forewarn you though, Dana, if you do Peter Steele one,
Mhm.
make sure that your safe search is on.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for letting me
Unless
know
you just
that.
want to know what it is, and and then leave it off, and then you'll see quite quickly.
Well, I'm not easily shocked, but from your face, Candace, maybe
Well, I
I
ain't complaining.
yeah.
I'm not
Let's
going to
just
complain.
put it out there. He was in Playgirl magazine. So,
Well, you
so
know what? I talked about this before. I've seen like if anybody watched the Eurocult stream this morning
oh,
uh
I know.
with me
Catch it.
and Steve and Dirk and Darren, we were talking about the Devil's Honey, and anybody that has seen that
Oh,
poetry film, yeah, saxophone sex. That's all I'll say. I won't go any further than that, but we were talking about somehow we got to talking about somebody. I think we were talking about Christopher George being in Playgirl,
Mhm.
and I said I saw that Christopher George Playgirl spread. I mean, he didn't look that bad back
Well,
then, and
just
he had adequate equipment. I'll just say that.
well, then I'm just saying, if you're curious, just leave it off, and then you'll.
I'll see it. I've also looked at Sylvester Stallone's Playgirl
Yeah,
spread too. I mean,
man, I love
I didn't
Sylvester.
know he was, but I do know that he did a film, a
Italian style.
particular film,
Italian Stallion.
Italian Stallion,
I've
back
never
in the
seen it
day.
though. I'm not sure that I want to, but you know, um,
I've seen it. I think I've
have
watched.
I
you?
have. So I seen back when I just came out of high school, and this was at the time I was really big into Sylvester Stallone's stuff, and I had heard I found this film called Italian Stallion. Didn't know what it was. I was like, oh, that's what they call him in the Rocky movies, Italian Stallion. And I was like, but the date on this I think was pre-Rocky.
Uh,
And I was like, okay, then what is this?
Oh,
And
I'm
and
lying.
then I quickly found out what it was.
did you watch it all, Chris, or did you turn it
No, no. I seen what was going on. I'm like, hold up now. I didn't I didn't expect this at all.
I didn't sign up for this kind of movie.
My goodness.
Oh, well, I gotta tell y'all one more funny story about like I don't me and Steve may have like I don't think we were officially saying we were a couple at this time, but our relationship was just starting and Steve used to download movies to send me, even back when we were friends. So I think what he was trying to send me was Blood and Black Lace, which is not a bad little film. And he said, I'm going to send you Blood and Black Lace. I was like, okay, cool, I'll watch it. Guys and gals, I started watching. This is one of the dangers of downloading things from different sites. Most of the time, you're going to get the correct movie. But in this case, I turned that on and it was porn. And I said, Steve, I said, I hate to tell you this, but that movie you sent me, that wasn't Blood and Black Lace. That was some porn. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. He said, you can get rid of that. He said, he was truly embarrassed. And I hated to tell him, but it was like, I need to tell him before he like sends it
Sends
to
it to
somebody else, you know.
That sounds like something he did on purpose, Dave. That's something I would do to Candace.
Yeah, Chris would.
Maybe
Because look at it. Look, it's just this. We're men, and we find stupid humor in things. So, like I said, that's something that I would do to Candace on purpose just to mess around with her.
I believe he would.
well, yeah, you can
I'm
imagine
not.
my surprise whenever I turned it on and
I bet you went beat red. Dana.
there was a very explicit sex scene right off the bat. I mean, I was like, okay.
Let me tell you something I used to do to Candace back in the day. So when sometimes I would, well, I think when we was dating at the time, I would order her things from
Oh
eBay and have it sent to her address.
gosh.
And but I would always change her name in the address box, and I remember changing it to. Cuckoo or something like one time. And so it was just so hilarious for when she would get it in the mail and like it would have that cuckoo or so, whatever.
And a ching chong.
Yeah, I put one called Candace Ling Ling Prater.
Yeah.
Because it was just hilarious to me.
Who in the world is this? I'm seeing.
Well, you know, Wes has done that to me when, like, I think after Brandon passed away, bless his heart, he did send me the Brandon just had an accident shirt, which I thought was endearing that he sent it to me after Brandon passed away because it did look a lot like Brandon on there. But I believe when he sent me that shirt that he had my name written as Daner Lynn Benningfield, and they always call me Daner, and a lot of other people call me Daner now because the Aaron and Wes do that, or CK and Uncle Bill do that.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was so funny. I showed to Steve. I said, "Look what Wes put on here." Daner Lynn.
Well, Wes does that to me when he sent me stuff in the past too, and he always dresses out in the same name, Christopher Oswald Prater. And Oswald is not my middle name, but that's what he's always called me, is because the initials spell out COP.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he came up with that one.
I don't know where he comes up with half of the stuff he comes up with.
Good imagination.
I mean, he calls people any number of different names and like makes associations like Adam Beck. He used to say that Adam Beck was related to Kimberly Beck, the actress, and I don't think Adam Beck is related to Kimberly Beck.
Yeah, and there's like a guy that follows him now. I'm not sure how long he's been following, but his name is Ryan Atkins, and I like Ryan. he's a big Godzilla fan like me too, and but they say he's the grandson of Tom Atkins,
Like
but
great
their last name
grandson
is
or
spelled
something.
differently.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Well, we gave you some creative fuel to your fire there, Dana.
We did, and making all of this stuff is fun, but I'm becoming, I'm gaining a special affinity for making these t-shirt designs and for
Yeah.
making t-shirts.
Dana, get off of here and be burning that computer up, making them designs.
Well, unless I fall asleep, which Steve would probably come back here and say, "What are you doing still on the computer? Why ain't you in bed? You need to go sleep."
Well, if you're like me and you get something in your mind and you just, it's like you got to run and do it. Like it's something creative or something.
Like
It's like
it's
you got
gonna
to
go
run.
away.
Yeah. It's like if I don't do it now, it's not going to, it's going to leave my brain and I'm not going to be able to do it. So I
But
know how that feels.
again, I want to thank Candace and Chris for being on here with me, and Batman. I saw Batman came back into the chat here,
Mhm.
um, and I want to thank everybody that was in the chat. And
Having us.
Russell did mention a few minutes earlier, well, quite a few minutes earlier. I think they started at 10 that Dead Pit had gone live. So um, y'all don't make CK mad now. Y'all be sure to hop on over to Dead Pit unless you're just wiped out, or because he might say Dana's still in our audience. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just okay. I'm just kidding. I'm not saying anything bad about you, but if you want to go hop on over to Dead Pit and see what they're talking about. In fact, I maybe could tell you what they're talking about. It's the greatest killer kid movies of all time.
Mm,
So if you're interested in that and you want to go over and see what they're talking about,
sounds like a good one.
and I guess on that note, I guess I will be doing a Stephen's Kingdom tomorrow night, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you're interested in joining in for that, I've got to look and see what movies I'm going to be covering for that. And then be another Everybody Wants England. I might wear this shirt again for
Yeah.
Everybody Wants England. And we're just going to, I guess, skedaddle on out of here for the night so everybody can get some rest and be ready to start their Memorial Day Monday. And as always, I want to remind everybody to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. And we're out of here, folks. We'll see everybody next time.
Bye, guys. Have a good
Bye,
Memorial
everybody.
Day weekend.